Prejudice. All right, thank you.
We will call the meeting to order for Wicomico County Council Legislative Session 2026-09 for May 5th, 2026. The invocation tonight will be presented by Cheryl Lang, Worship Associate with Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Salisbury. There you are. Thanks for being here.
Holy Creator, source of all. We come together today holding intention for a productive meeting in the service of Wicomico County residents. While tasks before this council are often complex, they are vitally important for the well-being of our community. Therefore, we open ourselves to a higher power so that we may benefit from divine guidance and wisdom. May we find peace when we speak with clarity and respect, and when we listen with compassion free of judgment. May we trust that our purpose to create the best outcome for our community comes through collaboration and dedication to the greater good. Blessed be, and amen.
Thank you. Those that like to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please do.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a few proclamations tonight. Some of them will be, the first ones will be with the recognizing National Correctional Officers Week. I know we have, excuse me?
Consent agenda.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jeff. But before we get there, entertain a motion from council to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Consent agenda is approved unanimously. Are we going to the proclamations next?
Absolutely.
We are. Okay. Thank you.
You may.
Chris Tyler, Director of Corrections, if you would come up. Jeff Merritt, I think you have some to read as well.
I don't do this alone. Come on.
We feel safe tonight. Maybe
You and I stand out front, Mr. Merritt.
How are you, sir? Good to see you. Thank you all for coming. I have just to read.
Do you want your fan?
I don't know about you all, but I feel pretty safe up here right now. It's my honor to read this proclamation. Did a little research. Former President Reagan started National Correctional Officers Week in 1984 as a thank you for your services and your contribution to public safety. So we thank you as well. Thank you for everything you guys do every day. This is a proclamation for National Correctional Officers Week. Whereas correctional officers have the difficult and often dangerous assignment of ensuring the custody, safety, and well-being of inmates, and their position is essential to the day-to-day operations of correctional facilities. And whereas the duties of correctional officers are increasingly complex and demanding, and the professionalism, dedication, and courage exhibited by correctional officers deserves the utmost respect, and whereas the important work of correctional officers often does not receive the recognition it deserves, and it is appropriate that we honor the many contributions and accomplishments of these men and women who are a vital component in the field of corrections. Now, therefore, the Wicomico County Council hereby proclaims the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 as National Correctional Officers Week, and calls upon all citizens to observe this week in recognition of all correctional officers, done this 5th day of May 2026, and is signed by all members of the County Council.
Can I
I recognize Tom. I'd like to recognize Tom Kimball, sitting over there. Tom, can you raise your hand? Thank you for everything you do, sir. We appreciate you. Who gets to talk? Somebody has to talk.
Tebow, you want to talk?
Oh, no.
Mr. President, council members, and audience, we thank you for this recognition, and council members, we thank you for supporting us day in, day out, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Squeeze in.
Yep. Let's get the important people up front.
Somewhere in the back.
Thank you.
Chris, did you have something?
Just to stay here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'll go right back here. There it is. Okay. Next. This is a really big honor. This is where we recognize the 2025 Correctional Officer of the Year, Shalisa Hutt.
She's right there.
Yes. How are you? Thank you. Thank you for what you did. I know we talked earlier, but thank you. We appreciate you. This is a proclamation for the 2025 Correctional Officer of the Year. Whereas Master Correctional Officer Hutt began her career with the Wicomico County Department of Corrections as a correctional officer on January 17th, 2016. She progressed through the ranks, being promoted to Correctional Officer 2 in June of 2017, and to her present rank of Master Correctional Officer in March of 2020. In this capacity, she trains new officers, works all post assignments throughout the facility, and became weapons certified. And whereas MCO Hutt is assigned to the Intel unit and is responsible for strategic and operational intelligence, which is critical to ensuring the safety of the facility and the community. She conducts investigations, monitors and evaluates offender activities, and gathers information regarding security threats. Due to her keen observation and quick response, she has prevented attempted suicides, contraband induction, and criminal activity. And whereas MCO Hutt serves as an example of professionalism, optimism, and diligence to duty, and is most deserving of the selection of the 2025 Correctional Officer of the Year. Now, therefore, the Wicomico County Council hereby congratulates Master Correctional Officer Shalisa Hutt for being selected as the 2025 Correctional Officer of the Year, and thanks MCO Hutt for her service to the community done this 5th day of May, 2026, signed by all members of the Wicomico County Council. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh, no. No. You get to speak now. We're very proud of you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you guys a lot. Just to know that our work does not go unnoticed means a lot, and I appreciate this recognition. Thank you. Thank you.
Chris, did you have anything?
Well, before you take that picture,
Yes.
So on behalf of Wicomico County Department of Corrections, Officer of the Year 2025, Ms. Hutt, thank you so much for your dedication and your service. It is truly appreciated.
Thank you.
Why don't you give Mr. Merritt your proclamation when you pull
You guys can come up a little closer so that you're public. I'm not a professional photographer.
Congratulations again.
Hold your positions. I'm equally honored to present Correction Officer, 2025 Correction Officer of the Year, Richard Blevins. Councilman Merritt kind of stole my thunder. I was going to mention the historical note that it was President Reagan in 1984 who made this proclamation, but in that he said, "The professionalism, dedication, and courage exhibited by these officers throughout the performance of their demanding and often conflicting roles deserves utmost respect. The important work of correction officers often does not receive the recognition from the public it deserves." So, Richard Blevins, 2025 Correctional Officer of the Year. Whereas Master Correction Officer Blevins began his career with Wicomico County Department of Corrections as a correction officer on May 1st, 2014. He progressed through the ranks, being promoted to Correctional Officer 2 in September 2015, and to his present rank of Master Correctional Officer in August 2018. In this capacity, he trains new officers, works all post assignments throughout the facility, and became a weapons certified as an instructor. And whereas MCO Blevins is assigned to the Intel Unit and responsible for strategic and operational intelligence, which is critical to ensuring safety of the facility and the community, he conducts investigations, monitors and evaluates offender activities, gathers information regarding security threats. Due to his diligence, he has been successful in bringing criminal charges against individuals for contraband violations and assaults. And whereas MCO Blevins serves an example of his professionalism, optimism, diligence to duty, and is most deserving of the selection of the 2025 Correction Officer of the Year. Now, therefore, the Wicomico County Council hereby congratulates Master Correction Officer Richard Blevins for being selected as the 2025 Correctional Officer of the Year, and thanks MCO Blevins for your service to the community. Done this 5th day of May 2026, signed by the County Council.
It's an honor, and I'm humbled by this. And I'd like to say that what we do can't be done by one person or one unit. It takes all of us as a team to provide the safest facility that we can and to serve this county. So I thank those that I've worked with and I continue to work with every day for your help and assistance. Thank you.
So on behalf of Wicomico County Department of Corrections, Correctional Officer Year 2025, Mr. Blevins, we thank you for your service and everything that you do, and thank you for making our place much safer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now we'll see how Ms. Hurley would like to arrange us.
Should I squat down?
You can't squat that far. You want,
Yeah, he's in the middle. There you go.
You want a stool?
as they're filing out, I'd like to ask Megan Barrientos to come forward. I met Megan out in the hallway and asked if she was nervous, and she said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Well, I am." So, first couple of comments. It's interesting that in this age of technology with spell check and AI at our disposal,
Yeah.
I'm very happy to see that we still emphasize proficiency in spelling skills. Megan qualified for the Maryland Eastern Shore, or won the Maryland Eastern Shore competition, so she will be competing, and let me know if I get this right, at the National Spelling Bee on May 26th through the 28th. at the DAR Constitutional Hall in Washington, D.C. And she'll compete against 247 competitors. And I wanted to say that we wish you the BESTOFLUCK. They save the easy words for council members. So let me read the proclamation. It is with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council extend this certification of recognition to Megan Barrientos of the Wicomico Middle School for winning the Maryland Eastern Shore Regional Spelling Bee and qualifying for the National Spelling Bee. The Wicomico County Council congratulates you on this accomplishment done this 5th day of May 2026, signed by the County Council. And just to say that we're extremely proud of your accomplishments and wish you the best of luck on the next competition. So.
Megan, we have one. What was your last word? Do you remember what your last word was? Excuse me?
Sophia?
Mythopia.
Okay. Mythopia.
Mythopia.
Yeah.
Not only can I spell it, I don't know what it means.
Can you put it in a
I'll do LUCK.
That's great.
Good.
Wow,
Good job.
very cool.
Wow.
Very, very cool.
Great. Congratulations. Next, we want to recognize with a proclamation the Wicomico High School Unified Strength and Conditioning Team for winning the gold medal in the United States tournament. Yes. This is huge.
Very nice.
Doors. Okay, so our next is our strength and conditioning, something that I need a whole lot of. It is with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council extend this certificate of recognition to the Wicomico High School Unified Strength and Conditioning Team for winning the gold medal in the Unified State Tournament. The County Council, congratulations on your accomplishments done this 5th day of May. And Dorothy, we won't let you go without giving us the story. Tell us what's up. What's happened? Tell us.
It was a pleasure to actually coach them this year. This was my first time coaching them. That we had a little trouble getting participants to participate. However, once they came in and bought into the strategies, the philosophies that we came up with, they were really enjoyable to actually coach. I saw the development from the beginning to the end, and I look forward to coaching them again and bringing back another gold medal.
Woo. You guys like singing? Well, then you're good for a picture then. Let's go.
Picture or a pose?
All right.
Councilman Hastings also has a proclamation to recognize the Mardella High School Unified Strength and Conditioning Team, which had a combined team with Washington High School in Somerset County, also for winning the gold medal in the Unified State Tournament.
Yeah. What is your name, sir? Joe. Nice to meet you.
His brother.
I'm biased as a Mardella warrior, class 2000. And especially when my brother is up here to be presented to. It is with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council extend this certificate of recognition to the Mardella High School Unified Strength and Conditioning Team for winning the gold medal in the Unified State Tournament. Wicomico County congrats you on your accomplishments on this 5th day of May, signed by the entire County Council. And Joe, this is not your first year of doing these. You've done well. Thank you. tell us more.
I'll tell you, Mr. Gladly. Thank you very much. Oh, Josh, right?
Josh.
No, I was kidding. It's always great. I will say this. Thank you very much for this recognition. It's wonderful out here. Also, Coach Cook Dorsey is also a Mardella grad.
Oh, you stole my
Sorry. Mardell, we got to show off when we can. I do want to say this. Thank you for the recognition. My team, a lot of my teams told me they couldn't make it here, and this is actually kind of a great story because several of them are actually competing in Bayside Championship softball and baseball's games right now. So we're getting the updates. A couple of them took their AP test today. So they got pretty good excuses, I have to say, for this why they're not here. But we'll say thank you for this. We had a great team, awesome people, and I will say I'll put a shout out for the Y-High, and you guys are phenomenal students. And I'll say this if your parents or family in here, being another coach, watching other coaches out there, you guys are really good. Just they were respectful, awesome, well behaved. So I think congratulations for everything. Yeah. Thank you.
We'll take a picture of you.
Doing enough that all day long.
Next, we have a proclamation to recognize Kanan Cornish from Parkside High School for winning the state championship wrestling 2A, 1A, 126-pound division.
Mr. Cornish was ill today, couldn't make it, but I'll accept on his behalf and make sure it gets to him.
Thank you, Mr. Rieger. Very good. Did we pronounce it right? Was it Kanan?
Josh, you got all the hair. It was nice to meet your brother. That was pretty cool. Do you want to come up here or receive this, or should I just read this?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. All right. Right now we have a certificate of recognition to Kanan Cornish from Parkside High School for winning the wrestling state championship in the 2A, 1A pound division, and this is signed by every member of the Wicomico County Council. Do you want to come up here? And she wants to take a picture, I'm sure, and then we can give this to him later.
I don't think anyone will confuse me with a state champion wrestler. But
No. Yes. No. This. Do you want to bring it to him?
yeah, I can take a picture. Oh, I thought you got one. Sorry.
All right.
There you go.
Mr. Rieger, you could still do the 126-pound class, I'm sure.
One leg.
Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation to recognize Iana Graves from Wicomico High School for winning the state championship wrestling 155-pound division. Present? There you go. All right. If you would, Shani Shields, Councilwoman Shields is going to read the proclamation. If you would stand next to her, that would be great.
It is with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council extend their certificate of recognition to Ayana Graves from Wicomico High School for winning the wrestling state championship in the girls' 155-pound division. The Wicomico County Council congratulates you on your accomplishment on this 5th day of May 2026, and it's been signed by all the council members. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Benson. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. President, Council. We're introducing Legislative Bill 2026-04, the annual budget and appropriation bill of Wicomico County, Maryland. to adopt the county budget consisting of the operating and capital budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027, the governmental enterprise funds budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027, the anticipated grant funding budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027, the FY27 position changes budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027, the FY27 salary tables, the FY27 proposed capital budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027, and the appropriate funds for all expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, and ending June 30th, 2027, as hereafter indicated.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Entertain a motion from council to introduce legislative bill number 2026-04.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? We will have work sessions following over the next couple of weeks. So, any other discussion? None at all. All those in favor of introducing legislative bill number 2026-04, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Legislative bill number 2026-04 has been introduced unanimously. Mr. Hurley, before you go to you, we have Delegate Barry Beecham in the room. Delegate, glad to see you. Anybody else here with you? Any other? No? Okay, just checking to see. Good evening, Mr. Hurley. How are you? Oh, we have April Jackson, President of the City Council, is here tonight, too. April, you should have spoken up. I hear you. Yeah. I have a lot of that. Ms. Hurley.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members, ladies and gentlemen. We had 3 public hearings on the agenda this evening. The first public hearing is on the proposed fiscal year 27 budget. A public hearing notice was posted on the county's website and published in the local newspaper, stating that a public hearing would be held this evening at 6 p.m. The proposed fiscal year 27 budget is posted on the county's website, and a summary is displayed on the screen behind me. I have copies of the presentation on the table as you walk in, showing the departmental request for fiscal year 27. The county executive has submitted to the county council, as required by the charter, a balanced budget. She proposes a budget funded by many revenue sources, the principal of which is local income taxes, followed by local property taxes. And looking at the expenditures for the operating budget, I will read each department and the proposed fiscal year 27 budget amount, which is shown in the far right column of the handout. After I am finished reading the proposed funding amounts by department, if anyone has anything they would like to say in regard to any of the departments, please go to the microphone and state your name, county of residence, and comments. We do ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less to allow time for everyone to speak. Also, please try not to repeat what others have already stated. We're going to start with County Council. And again, it's going to be on the screen behind me. County Council is $1,021,268. Circuit Court, $2,580,833. Orphans Court, $116,181. State's Attorney, $6,478,578. Executive/Administration, $890,692. Community Promotions, $45,000. Elections, $2,560,841. Finance, $2,152,483. Public Accountant, $220,000. Purchasing, $430,626. Law, $572,520. Human Resources, $1,003,478. Planning and Zoning, $3,206,622. General Services, $1,654,622. IT, $1,888,784. Liquor License Board, $351,776. Sheriff, $23,868,568. Salisbury Fire Ambulance, $2,370,000. Volunteer ambulance, $6,028,000. Volunteer fire, $3,805,235. Corrections, $25,483,647. Emergency services, $5,467,310. Protection of animals, $682,700. Public works, $1,238,504. Continuing, we have mosquito control at $271,091. Gypsy moth control at $35,000. Board of Education, $68,564,440. Community College, $7,711,464. Public Library, $2,229,826. Tri-County Council, $863,971. Public Health, $5,351,860. Government Office Building Security, $118,851. Extension Service, $175,460. Community Access Channel, $260,000. Office of Economic Development, $259,540. Police Accountability Board, $12,500. Pensions and Retirement, $75,000. Hospital Disability and Death Benefit, $333,917. Workers' Comp / Liability Insurance, $1,150,000. County Debt Retirement, $5,496,000. Social Services, $5,949. Transfer to other funds and contingency, $31,085,601. Fleet vehicles / lease, $1,150,000. Roads, $12,454,671. Recreation and Parks, $4,294,244. Grants and mandates, $946,210. Teen Adult Center / Dove Point, $61,362. Maintenance of Age and Community, $300,000. Commission on Aging, $750,000. Life Crisis Center, $15,000. Moving on to our governmental and enterprise funds, we have solid waste at $15,106,743. Airport at $5,728,474. Electrical Board, $56,239. Local Management Board, $1,429,507. Recreation and Parks, $6,767,976. Wicomico Youth and Civic Center, $7,802,868. Tourism, $3,537,650. And last, we have nursing home at $11,870,000. Mr. President, the floor is now open for public comments.
Do you have any comments you'd like to make, as Mrs. Hurley said, in reference to any part of this legislative bill? Come to the podium, state your name, your county of residence, your concerns. This is in reference to the budget. Thank you.
Good evening, President Cannon, council members. I'm Brian Rager, Chief Finance and Operations Officer for Wicomico County Public Schools. Our superintendent, Dr. Soffer, sends his best regards, but he is supporting our defending state champion Mardella girls softball team as they face off in tonight's Bayside Championship game. Our school system enjoys a strong, positive relationship with county government, as evidenced by several consecutive years of above MOE allocations for our operating budget, which has allowed us to keep up with cost of living and inflationary expenses. as well as support of major capital projects, including the on-time and on-budget completion of Mardella Middle and High School and the innovative forward funding model approved to keep the Fruitland Primary Replacement School on schedule. We're pleased to see the proposed budget continues this cooperation with support for replacement of the end-of-life HVAC system at Fruitland Intermediate School and implementation of Phase 1 of weapons detection systems in our high school. County residents should be proud of the long history of conservative, ethical use of public funds by their school system. In just the past year, we have received 3 separate clean audits, including one by the Office of the Inspector General for Education, a very rigorous audit, and our financial office continues to receive annual awards for the budget and its transparency from third-party assessors. Beyond dollars, WCPS sees the value and puts the effort into maintaining our buildings. In fact, WCPS has been in the top 3 of all Maryland counties in the state's annual maintenance effectiveness inspections for the past 5 years. This is the result of strong leadership in our facilities department and the day-to-day work of our maintenance and operations staff who care for more than 2 million square feet of buildings. More than just a feather in our cap, these high scores result in real savings to Wicomico County taxpayers in the form of a larger state share for capital projects. Dr. Stauffer and our team look forward to meeting with the council next week to take a deeper dive into our proposed FY27 budget and continuing the meaningful and positive collaboration that makes Wicomico County a great place to live and learn.
Thank you, Mr. Rieger.
Joe Scafino, Salisbury. The fire ambulance, Salisbury Fire Ambulance part of the budget, this past year was $3.7 million. And surprisingly, the budget's proposing a 36% cut to Salisbury to $2.2 million. Salisbury's fire and ambulance budget is approximately $15 million, and approximately 1/3 of the calls are county-related. So, rough back-of-the-envelope math, we should be reimbursed approximately $5 million. So that needs to be addressed. Understandably, I mean, Wicomico, look, we're the 18th out of 24 poorest county. Salisbury is the 4th poorest city in the state. Maryland likes to talk about county municipal partnerships, and the 6 years I've been here, it's been pretty good. But I would like to see the city compensated properly for the services they provide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Atkins, District 2. I don't have all the budget details that you gentlemen and ladies have. The public's availability to the budget is 48 pages. I think yours is probably above 200. So we have to do a little digging to find things out. We've got a $237 million proposed budget for this year. We're looking at 3 additional positions in the engineering department, which I would ask that you look at very closely. There's a request for funding for 3 office assistants in the executive's office. There's only 2 office assistants up there, so I don't know why we're funding 3, because we only have 2. The 2 largest revenues for the county are property tax and income tax. The proposed raises for the county employees, who I will call blue-collar workers, who are the ones who are out working, getting their hands dirty every day, between COLA and a raise is 5%. Each year, the property tax, income tax revenues go up approximately 10%. I would argue that the revenues come from the citizens of the county through their property tax and their income tax. But we're only giving them a 5% raise. So they're getting further behind every year. and we need to address this. Something needs to happen to eliminate the pay disparity between, again, the blue-collar workers and white-collar workers. Please take a look at some of the little items that are in there, but when you take a lot of little items and you add them together, you come up with a big item. You have cash cards, you have meal expenses, you have vehicles, and you have out-of-town expenses. Sometimes it's not necessary for 4 people to go out of town when 2 people can handle it. So when you take a lot of little things and add them together, you need to, you will find out that there's a large amount that correlates to that. And the last thing is that a lot of people talk about minimum wage. I have to, I believe, credit this to Mr. Hutchinson at a county legislative report back where he stated we don't need a minimum wage in this county. We need a living wage. There's a difference. So please take a look at the little items in the more than 48 pages that you have that I don't have. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Atkins.
Good evening, Robert Taylor, county resident. Before getting into the weeds, I just want to point out the little brochure that was passed out. This is not really the executive's proposed budget. Ms. Hurley referred to it as a summary. I would call it an extract, and I would call it that because it doesn't have anything in it about the revenue, how much it's going to be, where it's coming from. It doesn't even have a summary of all the expenses. Now, Mr. Adkins gave us $237 million, and that's my recollection too. You can look at in the briefing book and get the full executive's budget. But there's a lot of things that aren't in here, including her budget message, which, to use a term my mom used a lot, is bovine scat primarily. There also, as I said, there's no revenue information. We don't know what we're getting. One would assume that the $237 million of expenses is matched by new revenue of that amount. Tain't so, honey, tain't so. If you look at the budget, the full budget she proposed, they're rolling over surplus funds. I think, I see Ms. Olin there, it's about 30 million, isn't it? Don't know, I mean, it's around 30 million. In other words, that's money we already have. It's like taking out of your savings account to balance your budget. So these are a lot of things I think that should be pointed out, and frankly, I think the council ought to do another hearing like this with all the information out front. Where are we going to get this revenue from? How much is the property tax going to go up? What are the estimates for this? Now, getting into the weeds a little bit on this, I would point out to you that there are a couple of things. I'm going to get into the thing that Mr. Schifano talked about probably in public comment. I'm not going to have enough time here. But if you'll look at some of the pages, you'll see that they do list revenue. For example, the airport, they indicate 2.7 million of revenue, and then to balance, almost 3 million from the general fund. So the airport would be subsidized in its operation by the taxpayers $3 million. Now, the FAA thinks that airports should be balanced. They should pay for themselves. We ain't doing that. Same thing, for example, for the Civic Center. 2.1 million is coming out of the general fund to balance their particular budget. So these are a lot of things that need to be scrutinized, and we need to go over these in detail. And in public comment, I will address further the amount that Giordano's proposing to pay to the city of Salisbury for the fire services that they provide for about 60% of the residents in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Good evening, Joe Venosa, District 7. Actually, before I begin on this, if you'll permit me, I just want to congratulate you, Josh, on being a new dad. Yeah, it's going to be long days and short years, And the good thing is when you become a father, you become a magician because you will find ways to make money and hair disappear. And I've seen your brother, so I know that's true. So good luck. But in all seriousness, I do want to speak briefly about disappearing money, as it were, because I also happen to live in the city. And one of the things that I am concerned about is, of course, this fire service agreement with regard to what the city, in my opinion, and others, is simply not getting. Obviously, the cuts that the county executive have proposed are substantial. They are related very much to the concerns we have with public safety. This has come up in previous meetings here in this room for the city. One of the things that I think we need to think about is, even though we often pit the city and county against each other when it comes to these fire service agreements, as was stated, about 30% of our SFD calls are from the city out to the county. And so when we're talking about emergencies, when we're talking about awful events when people's homes are on fire or there's emergencies of that nature, we don't think of those lines. So perhaps we should try to think about this as one united community as we talk about these funding issues. But I also think it's important because there's a lot of people in the city of Salisbury who believe that part of this substantial cut is driving some city officials to push for the end of collective bargaining, which I think is a huge mistake. And right at this podium a few weeks back, the sheriff, as well as the state's attorney, Jamie Dykes, talked about getting rid of collective bargaining for the city as a major security threat for the county. So I believe that if the county is able to help get the executive and her budget team to see the light, to not treat the city of Salisbury like enemies or villains, then we could perhaps come to a compromise that will be more fair for everybody, and also hopefully provide a benefit to our first responders who very much are worried about what these cuts will mean in regards to their workload. So just please consider that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sue Jackson Stein, and I live at 815 Kearney Court in the county. And this tags on to some of the comments that have been made. Contrary to popular belief, transparency is not a four-letter word. It means being honest, trustworthy, decisions are cleared, well-considered, and debated in the county. Policies should be considered by the county council and explanations given to the constituents, the taxpayers. Decisions made by the executive often appear to be made in secret by fiat or hidden machinations. This has made me suspicious of the executive's dealings and policies. It is incumbent that the county executive be transparent, at least until her term ends in November. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is April Jackson. I'm the president of the Salisbury City Council. And as Mr. Taylor, Mr. Venosa, and Mr. Joshifano have said, I won't reiterate anything that they have said, but we are practically begging you all to help us with this fire service agreement. It's about to cause us to lose our union because of the finances. We're digging in reserve. We serve 60% of the county, and we're not being given back what we deserve. And I think that it is terrible that our county executive does not think enough of our city to give what is due. Now, she states that she's given us more than any other one. No, we don't want more than any other county executive has given us. We want what is owed to us. We deserve it. We serve the county and the city both. And I'm not going to sit up here and beg and cry, but, we have people's lives in jeopardy right now. We really have people's lives in jeopardy. So would you please go over the budget? Make sure, because I saw she had $2.3 million in the budget for volunteers. So could you please go over the budget and make sure that we are taken care of, making sure the city gets what is due to them. We deserve it, and I will say it over and over and over again. I have been, for the last month or so, having sleepless nights because I don't want to get rid of our union. I do not. But we don't have the finances to support it. And every year we have gone through the same thing to the point now where we may lose the union. I don't want to do that. But if that's what saves us and keeps us from going bankrupt, then that's what I have to do. But also, make sure, it's your responsibility to make sure that this budget is properly obtained, and you go over it, make sure that everything is addressed the way it should be. Just make sure the city gets their proper due. Thank you.
Thank you, President Jackson.
You're welcome.
The public comments. Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2027 operating and capital budget. Mrs. Turley?
Okay, next is a public hearing on resolution number 67-2026. This is approving a zoning waiver for the city of Salisbury lands of Nicholas Benzel, North Shoemaker Drive annexation in the city of Salisbury. As background, the proposed municipal zoning designation is R-10A residential, which is inconsistent with the county's current zoning of R-20 residential. The petitioner intends to construct 60 townhome units consistent with the use of the property located in the city's R10A residential zoning district, but at a higher density. So this would require a zoning waiver, and we have Ms. Tracy Taylor here, Director of Planning, Zoning, and Community Development, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Turley. At this time, we open the floor for our public hearing on resolution number 67, 2026. If you have any comments you'd like to make in reference to this resolution, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Wolgamuth, and I live in Granby's Cove. That's in the city and the county. I urge you to vote no on the zoning waiver. This waiver far exceeds the 50% density threshold, and the R10A use of townhouses and apartments differs substantially from R20 use of single-family detached homes. Two major concerns are the environmental threat to Shoemaker Pond and the inappropriate zoning designation. Shoemaker Pond is designated a non-tidal wetland of special concern in Comar that carries substantial stormwater implications. Higher density zoning increases impervious surface, stormwater volume, and pollutant loading, raising the risk of algae blooms and downstream flooding that will affect neighbors, Shoemaker Park, the new Wicomico Library, Salisbury Zoo and Park, and the Wicomico River. After annexation, increased runoff from this site will still affect the county's MS4 pollutant reduction obligations and downstream critical area waters. That exposure is a powerful reason to vote no on this waiver. Next is the issue of zoning appropriateness. This property is zoned R20 in the county for low-density, single-family detached homes. R10A zoning more than doubles and potentially triples the allowable R20 density while allowing townhouses and apartments not permitted at all under R20. That fundamentally different intensity and fundamentally different use is yet another powerful reason to vote no on this waiver. Especially important is that the city's own planning staff did not recommend R10A. In the August 2025 Salisbury Infrastructure and Development Staff Report, and I quote, "Staff found that R10S zoning would be the appropriate designation for this development. This zoning maintains the integrity of the nearby single-family zoning. Staff recommends the parcel be zoned R10S upon annexation," unquote. R10S zoning is lower density housing that is closer to R20 zoning and consistent with the adjacent neighborhood and homes bordering Shoemaker Pond. The City Planning Department rejected R10A zoning. The county should do the same. For these reasons, I ask the county to vote no on the zoning waiver. Thank you.
Ted Medeiros, City of Salisbury. I'm here with my wife. I'm a retired environmental consultant. My wife, Sarah, is currently a partner in an international environmental consulting firm. Together, we have a combined 80-plus years of professional experience addressing environmental compliance, contamination issues for clients ranging from the federal, state, and local agencies, small businesses, small, medium, and large cap firms, both nationally and internationally. We know what we're talking about. Additionally, I'm recognized as a trial expert in the courts of Michigan, New York, Maryland, and Virginia in regard to environmental trials. We're here to speak in strong opposition to the proposed waiver for the following reasons. Waiver represents a violation of process. As was mentioned, the Planning Commission ignored their own staff recommendations on the zoning and opposing citizens at the at the August meeting, and increased density even beyond what the developer had originally requested. In the original annexation proposal of May 2025, the developer misrepresented the comparative nearby neighborhood, using as his model Stone Gate, which is a third of a mile from the proposed development, rather than the neighborhood of Granby's Cove, which is conterminous with the proposed development. If allowed to go through, this waiver will result in a discordance with the City of Salisbury's Code, Section 17.156.010, which calls for the preservation of, quote, "the character of both newly planned and established single-family residential areas to promote and enhance the quality of life and environmental attributes which are an essential part of the city." One important degradation is the significant increase in traffic through Granby's Cove that will result of access to the new development through the Hadley Place cut-through. Granby's Cove has no sidewalks. It's a place where a lot of people walk, elderly and young families. We have the Taylors here with their young child, and they have more kids who play in the streets. It's a quiet neighborhood, and this will greatly increase traffic and problems. The last is Shoemaker Pond that was also mentioned. Pond is already in an impaired condition, listed as a 9-tidal wetland of special concern by MDE. Increased density will result in, as was mentioned, significant stormwater runoff. My wife and I take no issue with returning the staff to the proposed zoning, allowing single-family homes, as this maintains neighborhood character. While there would be an impact on the pond from the development of single-family housing, it would be significantly less than the result from the proposed increase in density due to the lesser impervious surface area. Please vote no on this resolution.
Good evening, Ruth Baker, Wicomico County. You've heard from the technical and legal experts. I'm just going to speak to you as a resident. I live on Shelburne Way in Granby's Cove, and I'm also representing my husband, Martin Paraboom, who could not be here tonight. As residents of the neighborhood directly adjoining the North Shoemaker Drive property that is seeking annexation into the City of Salisbury, we strongly oppose this zoning waiver and request that you deny approval. We bought our current home in Granby's Cove neighborhood over 30 years ago when we first moved to Salisbury, and we have never looked back. We raised our 2 sons here. We have always prized its safety, walkability, tranquility, and natural beauty. In turn, we have worked hard to maintain our property and be in community with our neighbors. So we were shocked to learn only very recently of the possibility that a highly dense development with attendant traffic, noise, and environmental degradation might be built in the farm field just adjacent to our community, and that these plans included direct vehicle access into and through our neighborhood. While we understand the need for new housing, we truly do, we believe that it should be at scale, consistent with surrounding neighborhoods, mindful of the environment, and respectful of current residents who have spent years, in our case decades, investing in their homes and communities. Under this waiver, the small agricultural lot proposed for development could be the site of 60 townhouses with direct road access to our neighborhood, a dramatic and inappropriate increase in traffic and density. Especially disturbing, as others have pointed out, this dense development would border Shoemaker Pond, a state-designated non-tidal wetland of special concern threatening ecological and environmental damage. We are truly grateful for the quality of life that Wicomico County has afforded our family. We like to think that in return, we have given back to Wicomico County as citizens, voters, homeowners, parents, taxpayers, and working professionals. So tonight, we sincerely and respectfully ask that you, as our county representatives, respect our concerns, protect our community, and deny approval for this waiver. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rosemary Hare, and I live on Colony Drive, abutting Parker Pond in the Colony subdivision of Wicomico County. The property under discussion tonight is located within a 1/4 mile distance between the entrance to Colony East and Parker Pond and Granby's Cove. I am also the co-president of the Parker Pond Homeowners Association, and I come before you tonight to strongly oppose the request for a variance. While others may speak in opposition, citing concerns about housing density, increased traffic on our rural roads, damage to the 2 fragile bridges over Parker Pond Dam in North Shoemaker Drive and the Walston Branch Bridge on Hinman Lane, I'm here tonight to talk to you about the risk of loss of trust in our government officials if you agree to abrogate the assurances we were given with R20 zoning. I'm holding in my hand the deed to 2 lots on Parker Pond that my husband and I bought in 1974. We built a house there, and it remains our home today. Much like those of our neighbors in Granby's Cove, our decision to live where we are was predicated on R20 zoning designation for our property and the other lots in our neighborhood. Owners pay a premium price for property and neighborhoods zoned R20. While we're willing to pay that increased cost, it comes with a legal promise of housing and neighborhood density. The deed I'm holding in my hand with its R20 zoning restrictions represents a contract. It's a covenant that our county government made on behalf of those of us who live in homes in Colony East and subdivisions like Granby's Cove. A covenant implies trust, and we have trusted our local government to not abrogate the promise implied by R20 zoning. When a Johnny-come-lately swoops in and seeks to upend the promises and assurances we were given, one has to ask, what's to be gained by one person when it comes at the risk of loss for so many others? One has to ask, do we really need another high-density housing community so close within our area? I ask the County Council tonight if you abrogate the covenant that you made with us when we were assured that our neighborhoods would be zoned R20, what other abrogations can we expect to be forthcoming? How can we trust the other promises you make to us? Please listen to the residents who come before you tonight. Listen to their objections. One person's gain should not come at the cost of loss to so many others. But even more so, one person's gain should not come at the loss of the trust we've placed in our elected officials. I ask you to vote no and oppose the request for a zoning variance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Mary Hubner. I live in Salisbury, in Spring Chasin, which there are 100 homes, which is the back of Tide Mill Apartments, which is 104 apartments, off North Shoemaker Drive and next to Stonegate, which is approximately 150 homes, a mix of homes and apartments, and the Glade, which is 44 townhomes. Also, there is the neighborhood on Shoemaker Pond across the street. So it's a lot of people in a small area. And we are all living off of North Shoemaker Drive. There are a lot of walkers in this area, dog walkers, runners, and school students. And there is a blind curve on North Shoemaker Drive, which is dangerous now. And with added people, it will even be more dangerous. I think this is something that should be taken seriously, as people are driving even more crazy these days, and I've seen people walking on that curve. Currently, there is a huge apartment complex going up right around the corner on Snow Hill Road, and a housing development on Beagland Park, right at the corner of North Shoemaker Drive. These will seriously change my quiet little corner of Salisbury into a driving nightmare. One more development going in near where I live on Beagland Park, near Old Ocean City Road, above Old Ocean City Road. I keep seeing people run red lights, and this will only make it worse. What is driving the need for even more apartments and homes? Just the other day, headlines read that people were leaving Maryland in droves due to the high cost of living here. There are 2 homes now on my street for sale. And they've been on the market for a while. I really truly don't believe this area can absorb any more homes, apartments, cars, or traffic. So I do oppose this zoning waiver. Also, I'm concerned about, as people have already mentioned, Shoemaker Pond and Parker Pond. This property being considered borders both. They are currently listed as non-tidal wetlands of special state concern. More homes on and very near these ponds could seriously impact them and the wildlife that depends on them. We need to keep that in our focus as well. We need the green space, and we need it to be healthy. Salisbury was designated as a tree city and as a bird city. If, in fact, we still are, we should be proud of this and work to keep these designations. If the building continues, we won't be either much longer. I had a little poem to read, but I guess I'll let it go.
Any other public comments?
Hi, I will introduce myself as I'm passing out 3 exhibits. Exhibit 1, if you would take 1 of each. Exhibit 2 and Exhibit 3. My name's Nancy Royston, and I am a county resident.
I think we need to budget some repairs in the building here. Please vote no and deny approval of the waiver request with this resolution.
The pond is the central attraction of the county's Shoemaker Park, known for its scenery and wildlife diversity. It's featured in the Birder's Guide to Maryland and D.C., which is an exhibit that I passed out, Exhibit 1. There's a well-known canoe and kayak trail in the park. Within a short, easy paddle, you can enjoy a unique, pristine swamp environment. Please see Exhibit 2, Shoemaker Pond Paddle. As elected stewards of the county's assets, including its parks and wetlands, I urge you to protect this precious area which gives us many benefits, including recreation, environmental education, and tourism dollars. It helps people want to visit, live, and stay here. Building townhomes next to it would ensure its degradation via increased stormwater sedimentation, unauthorized dumping, and trash. In a typical townhouse-type setting, the perimeter maintenance easements which circle the townhouses, parking lots, and streets do not keep strangers and others from wandering about freely, which would wander into the pond and do things that we might have to clean up. The annexation zoning change, which is with its higher density, means more impervious surfaces upstream than the single-family homes that's zoned currently, resulting in the increased threat of flooding downstream. There are significant reliability issues with the developer's site plan. I realize it's only a concept design, but would expect better information for an annexation with zoning change request. A, the location of 2 large active electrical poles is not shown. An active power line easement 100 feet wide cuts diagonally across the top third of the site, rendering a large portion of it unusable for buildings. This crams the development toward the back end of the property, right next to the sensitive wetlands. Is this your idea of smart development and good planning? Single-family homes, continued agricultural use, or a solar farm would make more sense and be more compatible with this site's restrictions. Next to the pond, the plan shows many topographic contour lines very close together. This indicates a steep slope. This is clearly not the case. The property next to the pond is flat. I cannot fathom why it's shown this way on this concept plan. The concept development plan does not show the wetlands delineation area or discuss its significance, which is misleading to the decision makers. Wetland delineation pink flag markers are present on the site, indicating that a wetland study was performed. The above misinformation and omission should raise questions. If you would bear with me. Lastly, Salisbury City Park and Shoemaker Park are for many citizens the only affordable recreation option for family gatherings and getting out in nature. The majority of us are not card-carrying members of private country clubs. Factory workers and their families, service workers, and the poor underprivileged who cannot travel are members of our community and deserve nice parks. The quality of these nearby natural places must be preserved and protected for all of us. Please vote no on this annexation and zoning change.
Here are hard copies. Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments? All right, seeing none, that concludes public comments. Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 67, 2026. So moved. Second?
Second.
Discussion. Josh?
If we can have Tracy come up.
Excuse me? Yep, Tracy, yeah, thank you. Good evening, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy Taylor, Wicomico County Planning Director. And we have the Director of Salisbury DID here as well, Nick Wojtek.
Nick Wojtek, Director, Infrastructure Development.
This, is this all from you guys? Right here, I just got this paper. Yeah.
That's the developer's concept sketch.
G and B at the bottom. Yeah, I thought it was 66 units. This looks like it's 60 units.
It's 60 units.
60.
Okay.
Mhm.
60 units.
60 units. I think the primary role of the planning director for Wicomico County is when we receive annexation requests from the municipalities, that we review each annexation request per state annexation law. And then we help determine whether or not a waiver, a zoning waiver, is necessary or not. And then we advise the council on that need, because it is the council's responsibility to determine if a waiver is granted. State annexation law is very clear, and it says if the uses are substantially different, or if the zoning is increased beyond 50%, then if either one of those circumstances exist, it doesn't have to be both, and then a waiver is recommended, that take it to the elected officials, and the elected officials determine if the waiver should be granted. The comments that were made earlier about the request going before the Planning Commission, this did go before the joint Planning Commission before we separated into city and county. And at that time, it was the city staff's recommendation that the property be zoned R10S. There was some presentation and discussion by the developer, and it went back and forth, and ultimately a motion was made to support the city staff's recommendation. That motion failed for lack of a second, and then there was further discussion, and it was decided by the Planning Commission upon a motion, seconded and approved unanimously, that we go with the zoning that's proposed before you today, which is the R10A. The primary difference between the developer wanted R8A, the staff recommended R10S. The biggest difference is not really with respect to density. The density is pretty much the same, the allowable density between the R10S and the R10A. The difference is the type of unit that's allowed. In the original recommendation by the city staff, it only allows for single-family dwellings. In the recommendation by the Planning Commission, it allows for townhomes. The density is almost identical. It's over 4 dwelling units per acre. So with that said, I will show you what we look at, the county, when we look at this. So this is a map, and I apologize if it's hard to see. I put a black star. You can see where the subject property is. This is the City of Salisbury's 2010 comprehensive plan. That is the plan that is in effect now. When that plan was adopted in 2010, it laid out all the future growth areas. So everything that you see in gray is the existing municipal boundary. And then everything outside the gray area is color-coded for the type of proposed land use that they anticipated. All the colored areas are proposed future annexation areas. That's required by state law. You have to have a future growth area map to show your annexation areas. If it's not on this map, then technically it is not allowed to be annexed. So the property is the black star that you see there near the body of water, the pond, and it is shown for low-density residential development for future annexation and growth. This is the language directly out of the City of Salisbury's comprehensive plan, and it talks specifically about the low-density residential future land use. And it says within the future growth areas, the map that I just showed you, that the majority of the land designated for low-density residential uses are directed towards the periphery of the proposed growth area, which this one is right on the periphery. It's described as a transition area between the urbanized areas of the existing city and the less intensive growth areas of the county. It talks about the fringe areas proposed to be developed at no less than 4 dwelling units per acre. This one's at 4.5 roughly, and that it is to include a variety and mix of housing styles, and clustering of development is encouraged. So again, this annexation proposal is at 4.66 dwelling units per acre, and the proposed density and development type is consistent with the City of Salisbury Comprehensive Plan. Again, this is the proposed development in the vicinity. This black star is the location. You only see a portion of the parcel here. Took this clip to be able to show the adjacent developments leading into this from the roadway, the interior roadway. Shoemaker Woods was first. It's 14.6 acres, developed with 19 lots at a density of about 1.3 units per acre. That is the residential development just north. It's actually south of North Shoemaker, but north of the water body, and that is the less dense development that the roadway leads into Granby's Cove. This is a closer up image of Granby's Cove. As you can see, the interior road leads from Shoemaker Woods into Granby's Cove. Granby's Cove was 22.6 acres, 70 lots, developed at 3.1 units per acre, and you see the parcel in question. That would be proposed at 4.66.
Just for clarity, would the current proposed development go into the, I guess, how would that adjoin the current development?
The roadway that started off of North Shoemaker and that leads into Shoemaker Woods was eventually, that interior road was eventually extended into Granby's Cove, so you can access Shoemaker Woods. You can access Granby's Cove through Shoemaker Woods if you so chose. That roadway stumps, you can hardly see it. Like if you were to look at the tip of that star and go directly to the left, there's a stump road there that was left that way for a potential future connection. I'll let Mr. Wojtek speak to that because that's a design issue with this development and what the city's requiring, but that would be the point of connection. It's about midway through the development parcel.
I think that was the intention, having that there. It's something the city's probably going to want to look at and want to encourage. The whole question of, is a new development here, whether houses or apartments, going to lead to additional traffic or impacts through the existing neighborhoods? There's really no way that it would, because it wouldn't be a cut through to any location. The fastest way to get out of the new development location would be to drive onto North Shoemaker and get on the faster road. So the connectivity doesn't really lead to a bad impact. And I think there's a benefit for people in both neighborhoods. You know, you can ride your bike further, walk further, whatever it is. Ultimately, the plans will have to go through the city's planning commission, which would be an opportunity for anyone in the community to come and give that input again if they're really opposed to that type of connection. I kind of see it as all positive, so it's something the city's going to encourage.
Just picking up on what that, are you saying that the process-wise, if this did move forward here, it would go to?
Yeah, the city's plan commission, it would require a comprehensive development plan where they would have a work session, we'd have a public hearing, and
go through this whole process again?
Yeah.
And that would deal more with the design of the development. At this point, this is just a rough concept because, quite frankly, the developer wouldn't invest money in a full-blown plan if they're not going to get the waiver. So this is just a basic concept plan at this stage, and then it would go through the city's planning commission process for all the design and environmental standards.
Nick, is there any plans in the near future to improve North Shoemaker Road? That's one of the worst roads in the city and the county right now. I travel that road occasionally. I mean, it's, you know, you don't have to worry about speeding on that road because you tear your car up. And
I'm not sure where it is on the list right now. I know it varies between city and county, which is always an issue.
And the other thing, I disagree with you on and they call it dumping as a phrase I think that contractors or planners use when you talk about putting a road from one development into another development. So you're dumping traffic from a high density neighborhood into a low density neighborhood. And that's seems like that would be backwards. If you had a high density neighborhood and there was a development on the other side of it that was low density, seems like that might be okay, but this seems to be backwards. So anyway.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases you would have that if the road from the lower density neighborhoods led somewhere, but ultimately each of the neighborhoods has to get out onto North Shoemaker, so I think logically anybody would just drive out to the main road. So I don't see that really applying here, but I do see your point.
Is the 4.6, is that considered to be low density? Is that not considered to be low density anyway?
That is considered to be low density in the city's comprehensive plan, yes.
And I'm trying to think about 4.6 versus the 3.1 that was expressed
Yes.
as far as Granby, and that doesn't seem to be a huge stretch, but at least just to clarify that the 4.6 is considered low density.
Right. So across the street, you see a variety of developments that were mentioned earlier. The roadway that you see in this diagram, really like to the left, to the south of the developments, that's Shoemaker Woods, that connects into Granby's Cove. And you see the glade and the density that's listed there for each of the developments. It's quite high. Again, it's not directly adjacent to Granby's Cove. It's in the proximity, it's across the road. But there is a pattern of multifamily in the vicinity, in the near vicinity. It's probably about a third of a mile. And you have the Glade, which is 44 units at 11 dwelling units per acre. You have Spring Chase at 4.66 dwelling units per acre, Tide Mill at 11.8, and Stonegate at 5.42, all a mix of condos, townhomes, flats, single-family duplex, quite a variety. Again, it's on the opposite side of North Shoemaker. I'm trying to present, a fair picture, and you can see you can see the alignment of Stonegate is the furthest east on North Shoemaker. Stonegate is more across the road from Shoemaker Woods that then ties into Granby's.
Do those three developments have, what do they call them, Joe, dumping, where they dump into the other neighborhoods?
Well, to get to Spring Chase, you have to go through Tide Mill. Stonegate is in and of itself, so you go in and you exit. I don't think Stonegate has a rear entrance. It seems to show there, but I'm not sure that it does. I think it dead ends. And the Glade does not. It cul-de-sacs. The only one that you pass through Tide Mill to get to Spring Chase.
My question is do we have to have that connection between the two neighborhoods?
That's a City of Salisbury decision.
It's something that we would want to have in there, so we're going to recommend it. That ultimately, the Planning Commission will have say and be able to approve the plan or not approve the plan. But
okay, so that's something that you guys want put in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, could that topic be potentially taken up at the public hearing stage of the plan?
Absolutely, it could be brought up, and everybody could have their voices heard on that.
For those of us who can't see so well, could you rattle off those densities again, please?
Absolutely, I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second.
And just for clarity, it's not technically a public hearing at the Planning Commission, but it's a public comment session, so people will be able to come in.
Gotcha.
It's public.
What's the likelihood of that getting removed, the dumping into the other neighborhood?
Again, I don't agree with the dumping premise, because I don't think it's a cut-through, but...
Cut-through.
I mean, I think it's something that the connectivity, to use a nice word, I think it's something that's a benefit, so it's something that we're going to want to have in there.
Is that something that could be added later?
I guess having a stub on the new development as well, I suppose that could be considered.
Did you drive the neighborhood, James?
I've been in the neighborhoods. Yeah, I have been in the neighborhoods.
Where Hadley's place is?
Which one's Hadley's place?
That's the street that's a connecting street.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I've been in that neighborhood, yeah.
I see that. I mean, and I agree. I think the dumping is a harsh word.
Yeah, it is. Sorry about that.
And the reason I say that is because I drove the neighborhood as well, and I really drove the neighborhood trying to understand the perspective as if I lived there, whether I felt like my personal life would be compromised, whether my property values would be compromised. And when you look at Hadley's Place, I look at that and I see that as a necessary road that's been put there And from my perspective, and Mr. Wojcik, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I just simply thought that that road is actually there in case there's some type of an emergency, because there's only one road out right now. And I think if you lived in this development, the only one road you would be taking would be taking the road to Shoemaker. Because if you're trying to go through, Hadley's Place, then you're going to be going through quite a few streets and quite a few turns before you're ever going to get out of that neighborhood.
Yeah, that is a good point.
And I asked myself, if I were living here, would I cut through here or would I go straight out? I would go straight out. But I think the purpose there and why the planning is in place such as that is that in case there's any type of an emergency, either a tornado might go through or there may be a major accident that's blocking a possible fire into the townhouse region, then there would need to be some type of ingress or egress for the emergency services to be able to get to that neighborhood. And I think that's the purpose of why they left Hadley's Place open, with the anticipation that that might be the use for that road.
And to that point, as we do plan reviews, the fire department, the fire marshal's office does do a review and makes comments, and they could require the road to be there for that exact reason. That's a frequent thing they do want, if possible at all.
John,
one way in and out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good, John.
That road, that stub was put in there with a premise that that would be a single-family neighborhood also due to the zoning. It wasn't put in there. That stub wasn't put in there with the premise that that would be townhouses in there, because the zoning, when that stub was put in there, the zoning was the same as what's in that neighborhood that's already there. So it wasn't put in there for the premise of there being a change in the zoning.
My assumption, and Nick can speak to this, but I assume that Granby's is on public sewer, so I assume Granby's was annexed as well. So when Granby's was annexed, its zoning changed as well. It has an R8, I think it has an R8. Shoemaker Manor was annexed, and so if it was, I could have researched, but if it was R20 before as well, if we look at it consistently, if all of that was R20, when Shoemaker Woods was annexed, it was rezoned to R10. When Granby's Cove was annexed, it was annexed to R8. And now another annexation. So every time something is annexed, it will change into a municipal zone.
Was it annexed after it was built out or before?
It has to be annexed before it's ever, the first home's ever built, because they can't get that density without public sewer.
Okay.
To go back to your question, the very first one, the Glades, which is to the far left on there, that is 11 dwelling units per acre. It's 44 units on 4 acres. The next one over, which is Tide Mill Apartments, is 192 units on 16 acres with a density of 11.8 dwelling units per acre. As you pass through Tide Mill to get to Spring Chase, it's 100 units on 21.5 acres at 4.66, which is the same density proposed here. And then Stonegate beside it is, which is actually probably the furthest to the right up there, is 27, almost 28 acres, 150 units, 5.42 dwelling units per acre.
They're all on the north side of Shoemaker.
Correct. If you look at Stonegate, if you look directly across from Stonegate, you will see the lots in Shoemaker Woods.
All the single families are on the south side of Shoemaker.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then this question had come to me from the council, one of the council members, so I wanted to show it is a little convoluted, I'll admit, but that is what is shown in the yellow-orange color are the municipal boundaries. And then you see the starred area of the parcel in question. There was some question about the proximity of the parcel to the existing municipal boundary. The areas that are in white are still in the county.
So I guess I just want to think through this. Well, first of all, I used to live over in the Glade for a couple of years, and know the area well. The pond, by the way, always has a lot of algae and a lot of issues. Mr. Sarbanes always comes and brings that up as an issue. But I've always pointed out, of course, there's still a number of those homes in and around that are still on septic system, and those septic systems are basically just going right into the pond. Very different from when my parents used to be there. I think my family used to be lifeguards, so you could actually go and on the pond itself, and very different experience. You certainly wouldn't want to go in the water now. So obviously we are not going to develop on well and septic. This is anything that is going to happen, going to go through the city. It's going to be on public water and sewer. No matter what, is this going to be developed? I guess is the core question that I'm struggling with. Is this, no matter what, going to be developed? Because there's not a conservation easement on any of that. There's no solar field on any of those. So there's no reason for it to and you're not getting the ag value. I come from an ag family. You're not getting the ag value. So most likely it's moving forward with development. Just the question then would become how much development, how dense, what does that really look like? What is it doing to the surrounding area? And I think as folks have pointed out, obvious issues when it comes to there's no sidewalk infrastructure. The city or the county hasn't worked to develop that. But the bigger issue there is it is adjacent to current city development. It is, if you were following former smart growth policy, it's maybe not within the priority funding area, but is likely in an area where it is going to be developed at a future date. So I guess here's the question. The question that I'm struggling with and trying to understand is to make sure that if it is going to be developed and the city does want to move in that direction, the developers do go forward, to what degree is a density is appropriate. And I think that's what folks have been going back and forth with. So step one, question one, is this going to be developed, and then second part of that, can you explain the 5-year waiting situation?
Of course. So if the county council were to determine that you did not want to grant the waiver, it would go into the 5-year period where the county zoning stays in place for 5 years and the property cannot be developed under municipal zoning. It could only be developed under county zoning. That's if the city decided to still pursue and the developer still pursue the annexation. After the 5-year period, the developer can develop the property in any way they wish.
When you say any way they wish, what do you mean by that?
They could have municipal zoning and they could develop it as proposed today, or actually under that zoning could develop it even more densely than what is proposed today.
How much more densely? Do you?
That's a good question. If you'll allow me 1 second. The developer can get up to 8 dwelling units per acre under the zoning, and he's proposing 4.66.
So the other concern that I have, I guess, and just to reiterate, that's if we don't move forward, then county zoning stays in place for 5 years, developer takes over, they can go with a much higher density than is currently proposed.
Yes, after the 5-year period, yes.
The issue that also concerns me that's on my mind is you're aware of the Bambi legislation and the number of other bills that come through the state of Maryland. The Build Affordably in my backyard was the Bambi legislation, but the state of Maryland has made it very clear, we do not have nearly enough places for housing for folks of all types, and especially seniors, especially our elderly, and especially single-family homes. But the state of Maryland is going to has seemed to want to encroach more and more when it comes to local zoning decisions, and to increase even greater density, because ultimately what the state wants is a very high density into our urban areas that are on water and sewer.
Correct.
So what I'm struggling with here also is that if we, as challenging as this is, you could end up with a much worse situation or a much more dense situation that the state of Maryland would then jump in and say, hey, you know what? We don't think you're being dense enough. We want to make sure that there's even higher amount. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess that's what I'm struggling with. I don't know if you can help parse out any of those thoughts.
I can, and I understand where your thinking is. So, keeping in mind, if this development had moved forward with the zoning as proposed by staff, they could have gotten 56 single-family dwellings. So 56 versus 60 townhomes, 56 single-family versus 60 townhomes. The state of Maryland now, as you know, has continually over the past 3 years passed more and more preemptive legislation, meaning it preempts our local zoning. We have no choice but to change our zoning code based on what the state legislation says. You all recently just heard the text amendment to allow manufactured single-wide and double-wide mobile homes and modular homes by right. Technically, any of those uses could go on this parcel. They do not have to do stick-built homes anymore. We treat stick-built homes the exact same way we treat manufactured and modular now per the state legislation. There was legislation this year that did not pass, but it will be back next year, which is to allow townhomes as a permitted use. That is coming as well. When we met with the Department of Housing and Community Development, they put out a report in January of this year about housing targets. Our housing targets are astronomical for Wicomico County. We won't meet them given that we average 50 to 75 building permits per year in the county. When I talked to the Secretary of DHCD, he made it very clear that they are promoting annexation and housing through the city of Salisbury, because the city of Salisbury is truly the only municipality we have in the county that has a large amount of sewer capacity, and you need sewer to do high-density housing. All of our other municipalities either don't have public sewer or they're at capacity. I think Willards has a little bit, but the rest do not. So we already know that that's coming, and we already know that's the direction of the state. We will not be able to stop that. It's not here yet. Some of it is with the manufactured and modular. The bill for the vesting period, the vesting rights came this year. We'll have that before you. The accessory dwelling units, we'll have that before you soon. All of that's coming from the state. Accessory dwelling units by right, by the way.
Not to put you on the spot with the numbers here, but I think you just answered Josh's question to say that the max now would be 8 units per acre. However, there's some developments that were 11 and 11.8. How could that be?
The developments that occurred on the north side of North Shoemaker, the ones that I showed you on the slide, the Glades, Tide Mill, Spring Chase, when they were annexed under a different zoning category, which allows a different density. This one being annexed under the proposed zoning that's now would allow up to 8 dwelling units per acre. The proposal is for 4.66, and what I was saying was after, I apologize for my voice, after the 5-year period, there wouldn't be any need, at that point, they wouldn't have to come to the county for any approvals. They can just develop under the city zoning.
The 8 is according to that particular whatever the
Zone.
that we're
Yes, sir.
R10A. Got it. Okay.
Jenny?
Yeah, I just want to say, I was torn, listen to the testimony of the people who are against the development. However, I agree with what they're saying. But in reality, we were having a developer years ago when I was on the city council that wanted to put single-family homes, and some of the people in the neighborhood did not want it. So now, if you go by West Road and Queen Avenue, you see a development where they're putting 87 single-family homes in a very small space. So I imagine that if you get that single-family home, you can stick your hand out and touch the next house. So if you go into Sassafras Meadows and you see the mixed use of, they have single-family homes that just threw up like manufactured homes. But I think that if you postpone it, and don't grant the waiver, like you said, they can come back and put more housing without any objection. They can do what they want. So when I saw the 87 homes, because I was upset about it, it's taking the people's backyards, it's right up to the people's backyards. I don't know if they're going to put a buffer up there. And they're annexed to the city, because they were annexed to the city when I was on the city council. And so I think that reality has to set in, that if 5 years is not a long time, way time goes by. And I think that I'd rather see the 4.6 units, what you said?
Yeah. 4.66.
Versus 1,000 units per acre. That's all I got to say.
I sat in on a meeting. Tracy, I believe you're in the same meeting. I believe it was Delaware, Virginia, and Maryland were part of this community housing development. And I was sort of interested in seeing how they were proposing development. And what I ended up, I was absolutely shocked by the time we got a half hour in, which lasted for then another hour and a half. The focus was nothing more than making sure that the local community's minds got right, and that they were going to impose upon the local jurisdictions that they were going to do manufactured and modular homes no matter what. For a while, I thought I might have been listening to lobbyists for the manufactured home industry. But these were government officials, and they were bent on making sure that they were going to allow this in neighborhoods. And as you've seen from what we've had to, legislation we've had to pass at this table over the last 6 months, the state of Maryland is imposing everything they can on the local jurisdictions, including taking away the rights and privileges of and autonomy of the local planning and zoning departments.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
If you were a profit-maximizing developer, why would you want to lock in at a lower rate when you can wait a couple of years and put in a whole lot more homes and sell a whole lot more units?
Well, the developer's here. If you would like to ask him that question, I don't want to answer that for him.
Rhetorical question, but I don't think the council president as far as who speaks, but I guess that's what I am severely concerned, obviously, with the folks who live there. I know a lot of the folks that live here, and I know that the general concern with not wanting to develop any further, especially in areas that maybe shouldn't have had the development in the first place, but there's currently no conservation easements. There's no ways to currently stop or slow the development because those things have not been put in place. And what I'm a bit concerned is that, we say no to it tonight, you're going to end up with something a whole lot uglier and a whole lot more, out of touch. And so that's what I'm currently struggling with, and I'm just being completely honest about that. Whereas I still see, even with this development, I see how the developers have tried to stay within reason, but we still have the same issue that Wicomico County and the city of Salisbury have not done any bit of a good job in making sure that road is wide enough that there's not potholes all here and there, but there's no infrastructure for parking. There's not the type of infrastructure that there should be for running and walking through there. I know that as a person who used to jog along there. So I guess that's what I'm concerned about. I don't know the future development plans for the areas that are up and to the right or above that, but obviously that would affect Parker Pond and the rest of these. So, yeah, Mr. President, I guess that's what I'm struggling with, and I'm not really sure. I feel like it's yeah.
I can't speak to specific properties, but I do know in the vicinity of Shoemaker and Gumby, there's been a lot of interest in development and also in solar.
Ed, I'm sitting here looking at this. I look at this power line right away. Most of your power companies, it's probably been 30 years ago, I had a power line moved on a piece of property I owned. So if they had this power line moved along North Shoemaker, say buried or moved on poles and then down the edge of this, could they develop where this right of way is now if they did away with it?
They could. I mean, it's a transmission line, so I don't see it moving anywhere, and they don't bury things like that around here.
Yeah.
I think the transmission line has been one of the biggest reasons there's been an interest in solar.
That's right.
But they have transmission lines underground too. Yeah.
I know they do.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have traffic with solar panels, so.
No, but not everybody likes to be near a solar farm either.
Like I said, I drove the neighborhood. I drove through the neighborhood. I went, and because when I first heard, I was a little bit concerned as well. I used to be a president of a homeowner association, so I understand property rights, and I do respect that. I'm not pro-developer. I believe that there are some reasons that people do want to protect their property values, And when I went into Stonegate, and when I drove into Tide Mill, and when I drove into the Glades, I was very, very, very surprised as to how quiet it was, how quiet the neighborhoods were, and how clean they were. And I thought, this is good. I mean, I would live here. It's very nice. I also then decided, well, let me go through Granby's and Cove and see what we are, how that might be presented. And the one thing that was really important to me is that between the existing neighborhood right now and the property that they're looking to develop, I wanted to make sure, where was there a barrier? And to me, there is a more than sufficient barrier of trees, line of trees, the length of the property, which if you're in Granby's, I don't see how you're going to see the townhouses. There's maybe a concern on the 5 houses right up against it, but the developer has said that they are going to keep the trees there, and I saw that as some type of a buffer. Again, the Hadley Place was my only real concern, and again, I thought it would be a bit of a circuitous route to try to take that in order to, if you want to go to Walmart, I think you would go straight out the development as opposed to going through there. So that's pretty much how my concept was in reviewing it, and I tried to be as objective as possible with that. Dave?
Yeah. I also rode through, I think, every single development in that area, and my observation was quite a mixture of single-family homes, and those were broken down into very dense, which were obviously on water sewer, and then those who were not were probably older homes on septic, I suspect. But those single-family homes were fairly...
if you're in city, you can't run septic.
But I may be mistaken about that, but I saw a difference in...
Excuse me, please.
On the
I also...
On the opposite side of the pond, there is.
I thought
right.
there was, thank you.
Yeah.
I thought there were duplexes and there were townhomes throughout those developments, which is not very far away. But taking another tact here, I look to our Planning and Zoning Commission, as all commissions, to be the resident experts. And our focus here is to decide whether or not to provide the waiver or to not. And not necessarily to rehash what was presented to the Planning and Zoning Appeals, or Planning and Zoning Board, even though that's kind of what we're doing. And reading the detail of those meetings, there was a considerable amount of debate, I think, and there was a compromise of the R10A. And I'm sure that when anybody says compromise, that can be debated by both sides. If both parties are not very pleased, it probably was a good compromise. But then looking at the larger picture, as Tracy pointed out, this area is in the city growth area, and we do need development in Wicomico County, and we need it to be on water and sewer. So this and the range of density with the 4.6 seems to be, well, it is on the low side. And again, as I stated before, it doesn't seem to be that much different than Granby's for that matter is 3.1. But that's just my comments as how I see it right now, and what I observed when I drove through those neighborhoods.
Josh.
Just one more question on process. Again, I'm a little haven't got much sleep lately, so can you say it just one more time? Process-wise, what if you've already said if we let it go, then we have 5 years, and then developer can do whatever they want.
Right.
If we do move forward and we do lock in that, then what's the process then? Ultimately, this is not, the county doesn't have anything more than this one role here. This is a city and the developer. So what's the process going forward after that?
It would go to the City Planning Commission, and the City Planning Commission would review the full-blown comprehensive development plan on landscaping, traffic, environmental, design. You want to...
Yeah, all the issues that people brought up as well. The city staff engineering department would review things like the issues with the non-tidal wetlands that people brought up, make sure that they're staying out of the buffer and not violating any rules, make sure things get sent to MDE and other authorities that need to review them. just deal with the
Stormwater
core
management.
views. Yeah, certainly
Stormwater
stormwater, both during construction and after construction. You know, there are pretty strong state rules with stormwater that make sure that you're not doing the type of pollution that people are worried about or doing additional runoff, you know.
I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission when this came in front of us, and you don't never want to second guess how people are going to vote, okay? But Mr. Ennis mentioned there was quite a bit of debate, and there was back and forth. But what we didn't have was a lot of people that came into for the public comment section.
Correct.
Because they didn't know about it. There was, I think, 1 or 2 people that came in, and since then, the neighborhood has become aware, and I think that's where the concern is, and that's where my that's where I have to think about the neighbors that are already there. So.
Questions, comments?
I guess I'll just put my thoughts out there. The developer is local, and nobody likes change. I sure as heck don't. And this is in the comprehensive plan for development. And if we say no today, what would happen, I'm speculating, is that maybe the developer will sell it to somebody that is going to invest in it and build rental townhomes in your neighborhood. And what I'm looking at here is an investor that wants to build townhomes to sell for homes. And if we say no, that could be what happens. And yeah, you know, we have to think about that as well. And those are my thoughts right now.
You have some information we don't know about?
What?
I said, do you have some information we don't know about it being sold to a rental?
Well, okay, so why would the investor hold on to the property for 5 years?
I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm serious. It's a local developer, and if he can't afford to hold on to it for 5 years, he's going to sell it to somebody out of state that has the capital to do that. And they're not going to care what they build right next to your neighborhood. And I just don't know how else to handle that. I mean, we've got to do something here. So,
Any other questions?
am I wrong?
I understand. Any other comments, questions?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just say I'm for this decision. I think if I'm at a flip of a coin in the sense that I feel like if you don't lock in something now that is more appropriate, you're going to end up with a much, much, much worse situation. And I've seen that. I worked on comp plans in Queen Anne's County and, you know, across the entire Eastern Shore. And I've seen this situation a dozen times over. And it doesn't usually result in a better situation for the folks who live there. And I say that as a conservationist who has worked to protect lands. I feel like this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of a situation. And but one way or another, at least you know, I don't know. And it doesn't solve the bigger issue is that this can turn around. Why is this not going to turn around and happen to the next property or the next property until we do, you know, it'd be a very different story if this weren't in the city's comprehensive plan for their, you know, for growth and redevelopment.
Right.
You know, we don't want the growth and development to be happening in the, you know, in the areas that we want to protect the most. We obviously want it to happen in our urban core. But, you know, at some point in time, you're going to have some serious issues with, you know, with roads being choked with traffic. And I don't feel like the city, I know it says their 2010 comp plan, and I know they're probably going to update that, and we are going through our process to update our comp plan in the county. But I guess, you know, if we don't have a better systems put in place, I don't know how we're not going to continue to have the same issue again and again. And so I would just, yeah, I'm sorry.
If I may, all of the area along North Shoemaker, if you look above the star and the property, all of those are within the growth area as well. So all of those areas are potential future annexation areas.
And we don't have, I mean, that the sad part is like this is where this is why we need, you know, this is where if you're going to have further growth there, then we have to have the basics of sidewalks, of better infrastructure, of planning where roads come through, and figuring out where we're actually, you know, making sure that we're conserving for, you know, that we don't get bad water quality outcomes. So I don't know, Mr. President, I'm kind of stuck in there. I feel awful for the folks that are in this, but I think you're going to be in a much worse shape if we don't move. If you don't, if you let this go for 5 years, then it's gonna be even worse. So it'd be better I'd say it'd be better for the public to stay super engaged on this and to go to the next meetings at the city and actually work with a developer to make sure that this is something that is as minimal as possible, that is thoughtful as possible. But otherwise, if we don't address these things through the comp plan, we're going to continue to be in these same situations, and that's not going to fix the issue at hand.
Any discussion?
Just one more comment, and I can't help but piggyback on something Joe said. If it might have been better were there to have been more people aware of this in the beginning, and I don't know what the mechanism is. I know planning and zoning appeals, there's postings and there's advertisements and such like that. I don't know if that's the case with typical planning and zoning projects like this. But if you could go back in time and wave a magic wand and have more people have that input from the beginning, it would probably not be such a arduous task for us right now. And it's a very tough decision. I'm much like Josh in that regard. I've probably changed my mind 6 or 7 times since we started this process, so it's very difficult.
Okay.
So we meet, the Planning Commission meets on the same, has met historically when it was a joint commission on the 3rd Thursday of every single month, and we do post the agendas online. We put our briefing packet online. We make everything available to the public, and we still do.
Last question.
All those in favor of Resolution 67, 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Chair votes aye. Resolution 67, 2026 passes with a 6-1 vote. Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is a public hearing on...
So, wait.
He said he'd out.
He was in.
They empty the room, huh?
He's checking.
See, they need to send people letters or something. That's the
I
bottom.
thought you were going to get up and say something.
Get the word out there, even if you have to have somebody in the planning zone put notes on the doors.
Hey, Joe.
You put signs there. That's what it's there. Print off some stuff.
We went to see Joe. I said, well, I know he always shows up. That's probably the first one he's missed.
I've been sticking close to her.
Yeah, but I thought it was
really
like he went that far to make that comment.
Yeah. I need to give him a call. Apologize to him for my wife having a heart attack. Sorry, my wife had a heart attack.
He knows what's right.
Hey, how you doing? I was just telling them if they took an employee from planning and zoning and gave the residents notice, like flyers, and, and they're going to,
Well, when I sat on the planning commission for many years, I was just telling Shaney, signage, advertising, and signage really, people all of a sudden work. So for that to have been completely changed, PNC, we wouldn't have had such a tough task. Nothing's about us.
Hey, man. You heading out?
Yeah, contact me.
Okay, you ready?
So is there any way that we can have...
Get out of here.
Well, we'll wait. We'll wait.
I feel sorry for them people.
I do too. However, what you said. 144.
Yeah, it is. You have to go by West Road, by West Road and look at it. They done tore all the trees down, and the debris from the trees is right in people's backyard.
John.
You saw that first time.
I think 87 houses.
Oh, okay.
Disgraceful.
You ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, next is a public hearing on resolution number 70-2026. This is to amend the fiscal year 2026 capital budget to include funding in the amount of $1.9 million for the start of the HVAC replacement project at Fruitland Intermediate.
Could we please? Thank you. Sorry.
And again, this is a public hearing.
We now open the floor for public hearing on Resolution 70-2026. If you have any comments that you'd like to make, come to the podium. Please state your name, your county of residence, and your concerns.
Good evening again. Brian Rigger, Wicomico County, Chief Finance and Operations Officer for Wicomico County Public Schools. And just briefly, the HVAC system currently at Fruitland Intermediate School is over 30 years of age, beyond its lifespan, hanging in there. We appreciate the work with the county government, county executive, to begin the work of replacing that system. This is a project that came to the School Building Commission with representatives from County Council and the County Executive's Office, was approved to move forward, and we're looking forward to hopefully get this funding in place now so that we can hit the ground running as soon as school is out, have this project completed in less than 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rieger. Any other public comments? We got it. Thanks. Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 70-2026.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Third.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution 70-2026 passes unanimously.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Resolution Number 72-2026, which is to amend the fiscal year 2026 budget to recognize the unanticipated revenue in the Sheriff's Office budget in the amount of $155,840.03. And we have Major Todd Richardson here if there's any questions.
Yes, the Resolution 71-2026 is the next item on the agenda. That's okay. Resolution 71-2026, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget position control document Exhibit F to increase the salary of the position of Deputy Director of Public Works. Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 71-2026. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? I know Mr. Luffman's here. Any questions from anybody? All those in favor of Resolution 71-2026, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes unanimously.
Okay, the next item for business is Resolution Number 72-2026. This is to amend the fiscal year 26 budget to recognize the unanticipated revenue in the Sheriff's Office budget in the amount of $155,840.03. And we have Major Todd Richardson here with the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office.
Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 72-2026.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor of Resolution 72-2026, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes unanimously. Thank you, Major.
Okay, next is a submission of an appointment to the School Building Commission by Mr. Steve Lakin, Assistant Director of Administration.
Good evening, Mr. Lakin.
Mr. President, council members, nice to see you all. I'm here this evening to recommend on behalf of the county executive the appointment of Sandra C. Carpenter, lead AP, B, D, and C, to the School Board Building Commission, and I'm formally submitting her credentials for your consideration. The commission assists with the county school board in planning, building, construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance projects as required, audit building designs, specifications, and contracts prepared by architects and/or contractors to determine the best technical and most practical approaches for the benefit of the community.
Before you is Resolution Number 73-2026, confirming the appointment of Sandra C. Carpenter, lead AP, BD plus C, as a member of the School Building Commission.
Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 73-2026.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution 73-2026 passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Lakin.
That's all I have, Mr.
Thank
President.
you, Ms. Hurley. This time we open the floor for, before we open the floor for public comments, I'd like to recognize Delegate Chris Adams is here. Delegate Adams, glad to see you. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're busy. Yeah, we got him, Steve. At this time, we open the floor for public comments. If you have any comments that you'd like to make, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns.
Good evening, Council President and council members. My name is Lori Lemp, and I live in Parsonsburg. I am here today to bring forward a serious and ongoing concern regarding multiple zoning and safety violations occurring in my neighborhood. These issues are not isolated inconvenience. They represent clear violations of the county ordinance and pose risks to public safety, property values, and the overall integrity of our neighborhood. Back in June of 25, I called planning and zoning. I spoke with Mr. Williams to let him know property down my street, and the property's been brought up before. And he asked me, he said, "Are you calling about 7131 or 7124? And I said 7134, and I went on to tell him about the trash and debris and everything, and the untagged vehicles and the camper, and by people living in the camper. Now, please keep that date in mind. The property right next to me, 24, with some tall grass, limbs from the trees. Within 2 months, Mr. Williams had hired a contractor to come and clean up their property. Yet here we are, almost a year later, and we are still dealing with this property. And then back in November, I talked to Mr. Jim, whatever his last name is, from Planning and Zoning, to let him know about 3 other properties that is adjacent to my property that I can see every day. Nothing. Somebody has to be held accountable. If you have a job and you're not doing your job, but you're there to collect a paycheck, you need to move on. This is ridiculous. We are in snakes and rat season now, and I'm scared to death of a snake. But last year we had copperheads, the galore. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Levin.
How you doing? I'm D'Angelo Dukes. I'm here to witness the same thing she said. I stay like directly across from her. I've been having the same problem that she's having with these several condemned properties. I have 5 children in my house, 1 on the way, 1's a baby that was just in here. I have 2 snakes that have been in my house that I killed, 3 Baltimore-sized rats. I don't know if you know Baltimore rats. 3 Baltimore-sized rats. And then I had, just the other day, me and my wife went out, glue traps, put glue traps around my house. I caught 10 mouses in 1 day in my house from these condemned properties. Now, I talked to Tony and the other guy that she mentioned. They came to my yard, flagged my yard for things. I cleaned up my yard, took everything out. I had an office trailer that my job had gave to me. I had my workout equipment in there. I go in there, work out, listen to my music, have my friends come over. That's where we work out at. They made me get rid of that. I cleared my whole property out. But the same property next door that's causing problems in my house. Last time I had someone come out to appraise my basement, they told me $16,000 to redo my basement. All because the rats done tore all my insulation down and the bottom of my house. My house is cold, you know what I mean? I got rat holes, I got pictures I can show you. I don't have the time, but I got pictures in my phone I can show you of all the damage that's causing my house. Like I say, it's decreasing the property value of my home. You know what I mean? Me and my kids are scared to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom due to the fact we got rats and snakes and whatever else running through our house. This property next door is nothing but a junkyard. It's been like that for 10 years. I lived in the area before I bought my home, and nobody done nothing about it. And my property is 3201200 Ocean City Road. This property next door is 32016. right next door to my house. I walk out my door, I can clearly see this property every day. Nobody doing nothing about it. And like I said, this is the second snake I done found in my house. I don't know how many rats. You could hear rats in the middle of the night just chewing through the walls and everything. I shouldn't have to live like that in my first home. I hope somebody can help me and figure out what can we do about this situation, because me and my kids shouldn't have to live like that in our first home. I mean,
I did not catch your name, I'm sorry.
D'Angelo Dukes.
Dukes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Dukes.
this has been an ongoing problem. It's like she said, there's 3 or 4 different homes in that area that's condemned that need to be taken out of there.
Wow.
And it's lowering everybody's property value. I mean, we can't get nothing done around there because all this junk around here. You know, we don't, I got neighbors come by, I mean, family come by, what is this over here? You know what I mean? It's making my property look bad. Sorry about that. But, I mean, all I'm asking is somebody can, you know, look into these situations, because it's causing problems not only in my home, others' home as well, you know, neighbors. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dukes.
Thank you.
Can you, I was going to ask him to make sure you leave your information before you leave.
Sure.
So we can follow up.
Joe Scafino, Salisbury resident. 21 of 24 Maryland counties have municipalities. I didn't know, but Baltimore City, Baltimore, and Howard don't have municipalities. I don't know how that is, but be that as it may, out of the 21 counties, 18 of them offer the municipalities a property tax differential, where they lower the county tax rate, a percentage, for the municipal residents. You know, we have an affordability issue in the state, we have an affordability issue in the county. As I mentioned earlier in my other comments, Wicomico is 18th out of 24 in income. Salisbury is the 4th poorest city. Fruitland, another municipality in our county, is the 10th poorest city. So, if I recall correctly, there was a study from 2010 that somebody had brought up where they recommended approximately a 10% differential for Salisbury and slightly lower for Del Mar and Fruitland. And, you know, all things considered, you know, 10% would go a long way, you know, to help a lot of people in the municipalities. It's not asking too much. I mean, everybody is paying their way as far as the county. And to be double taxed, I mean, when I moved to Salisbury, I didn't know until I got a property tax bill that, holy crap, I'm paying double. So, I mean, even 10%, I mean, it's $170 less, but it would help. So whether it's this council or the next one, please, you know, consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin.
Robert Taylor, still a county resident. Now, continuing on my remarks from earlier, I want to address the amount that's in the executive's proposed budget to reimburse Salisbury for fire and EMS services. And I'll be sending you some, I'll send it to Laura and she can send it to you. I'll send an email. I did a map of the county. There are 14 different fire service districts. Got the names of them. The 3 are right around Salisbury, or the 3 city ones. Now, they include the city and outside of the city as well. And one of the things I will send you is out of the, remember the SWOT analysis from a year or so ago, which I guess hasn't gone anywhere yet. Anyway, it has in there an estimate of the residents that are within 5 minutes of a particular fire station. And for the 3 in Salisbury, the total is 56,471. Now, this is from a couple years ago. The city population at that time was about 33,000. So obviously, this is a lot more than the city of Salisbury. And it's just 5 minutes from the station. If you go out a little bit further in the districts, probably Salisbury is handling somewhere over 60,000 residents, possibly as many as 65. The rest, possibly about 40,000, are handled by the other 11 stations. So as you can see, the workload is quite different. And I've got something that shows the areas that are within 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and then the red, 15 minutes. I'll send those to you as well. Because I think if you'll look at this logically, if anything, the county should be going to the city and saying, hey, let's get together and can you serve a little bit more of this area that's in this yellow? For example, Hebron, and they're serving the west side of the city to some extent. City area I'm talking about generally now, what we used to call the Metro Core. Possibly with Parsonsburg, part of their area could be served by the city of Salisbury. It'd be much better response time, but it takes money. And she's refusing to pay the city the cost of providing the service. It's just simply not fair. And I think the city at some point is going to have to think about cutting back, either entirely or to some extent to be the same as what the amount we're getting reimbursed, which is not much. So I think you all need to give this a lot of thought because this is a real problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, and I
Jones.
see I think that's Mr. Bariano back there. I think I read in the Sun paper where you got your law license back. Congratulations.
Any of the public comments?
My name is Colin. I reside in Parsonsburg, right on Tillman, same area as 7131. And I think that's why we're here tonight. That property was brought up back in June of 25, and I think President Cannon commented on the site of it. And yet here we are. So I blame part of planning and zoning for this issue. You know, they don't want to do their job, plain and simple. But every time I called to get a hold of Mr. Williams, he was always out in the field or away from his desk. And I called multiple people, they couldn't help me. It was always, well, we'll send somebody out. Back to the same circle of there's obviously a threatening individual in there, and that's always holding this process up. They know that they're threatening, but again, we went out, we didn't get any access to the property because he was threatened. They knew that last time. Before that, obviously, they said, we'll send cops. And still, they show up, no cops. And then I had some violations for my stuff that got taken care of, so did other people. But one thing I don't get is how planning and zoning issued multiple extensions for them to get stuff done. And clearly, they didn't. So that's just one thing I don't understand. I hope you guys can look at it. I have two neighbors that actually confirm that camper is occupied by 5 people. So I don't see how, they can't prove that the camper is not livable when clearly it is. And a very nasty environment. I mean, there's the kid that's not even theirs that's living in that kind of nasty environment. And I don't think it's right for the kid. I mean, the kid's only probably maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, but still. And, I just hope you guys can look into this, hold planning and zoning accountable for it, because they're not doing their job, of saying, well, we'll go out there and do this and do that. I had to take care of my stuff. Why is it so hard for them to get 7131 taken care of? So, thank you.
Can I have another
Thank you.
on that same you had? Because like he was saying, planning and zoning, they came out. They actually took pictures of my yard when they re-inspected. Then they walked. I told them, you have access. You could take pictures of the property that I was speaking of next door. They took pictures of it, and like I said, I haven't heard nothing back from them. They still haven't done nothing about it. That's Tony and the other guy. I done talked to them several times. They came back out for my property, but they ain't doing nothing about this whole junkyard next door. I mean, it's nothing but junk over there. Trash, debris. I mean, from the back of the woods all the way to the road, the public road. Nothing but junk trash, which, like I said, is causing more and more damage daily in my house. I come home in the middle of the night because I work overnight. I come home in the middle of the night. Like I say, you hear rats chewing holes through my ceiling and debris just dropping from the ceiling from the rats chewing through my ceiling. I don't want to live like that.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
I'm
Dukes.
just asking, can y'all please reach out to our neighborhood, help us out, you know what I mean? So we can have a better living for our families there in that neighborhood.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Good evening. Hi, Monica Brooks, Wicomico County resident and president NAACP. I met these people. I was going to sit there, but I just want to say we had a meeting this evening where people were concerned about other homes being placed in their neighborhood, and oh, the horror of all of that, when we actually have real horror going on where people are in unlivable situations. And I really want I just really wanted to lend support to them because they've never come to a meeting, but they're here. And I want to make sure that they're being heard. They're being heard as citizens in this county that are paying taxes. And you know what was talking about, and whoever is supposed to address it, and however they're supposed to address it, or whatever the case may be, but it needs to be done. It needs to be prioritized. It needs to not be left by the wayside because maybe it's a few homes or what have you. But please give ear to what has been said here and the safety that people want to have for their families. I mean, to have to deal with that sort of situation. The other piece that I wanted to just bring up as also a recommendation that I've heard before from Molly Hilligoss was saying, because there are lots of abandoned homes around the county, but some of those homes could be taken over by or bought by Habitat to be converted into nice livable conditions for communities so that their adjacent property values can be maintained as well. I mean, there's a couple of houses that have had tarps on them for years. Nobody's living there. So we have some opportunities where maybe some of those homes that they've talked about, even those abandoned ones, perhaps that's an opportunity. Maybe some sort of partnership can be done through the county or through Habitat or whomever to make those into livable conditions. Because I already know one of the ways, unfortunate to especially some of our seniors, but there's been the tax sales. A lot of times it has to do with what's going on in the property, and how those bills get racked up. So just wanted to give ear to that. And also, I'm always advocating for sidewalks. Naylor Mill, North Salisbury Boulevard, Jersey Road. If we can work on that, that would be great. Like I said, there's tons of people walking all the time, and at night and the day. And there's not even a bike lane on Naylor Mill, especially. There's nothing. So please consider
Ms. Brooks.
in this budget. Thank you.
Any other public comments? That concludes public comments. Council comments. Joe?
Yeah. Thank everybody for coming in tonight. The young lady that got up to the podium and spoke sent some pictures, and so the council can see something about what she is talking about. And we've seen these pictures before, some of them. So that's 7131. Well, it says that Tillman Drive.
These pictures that are going to go out, if they're not over here, do we have the ability to get these pictures over here? Oh, there we go. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, there's a camper they're referring to. That's a drone shot. That's another drone shot, of course. Now that's okay, same property. That's the one on Ocean City Road.
That's the one that's
That's Ocean City Road. That's Ocean City Road. And that's it's one off. Yeah, it's one off Ocean City Road also. Now, I believe that's on Ocean City Road. I will say this. planning and zoning has a terrible task of trying to get things done, especially when it comes to going to court. And I went through this a little, 6 months, 8 months ago. We had a dumping issue on Shavox Road. Neighbors were subpoenaed to court. I went to court. I was subpoenaed. State's Attorney's Office never, after people took 2 days off from work, never asked us to even testify. The gentleman was found guilty after, I think, 4 or 5 times in court, and it was delayed 2 or 3 times. And I think he had to end up making restitution for about a half or a third of what the cost of the cleanup was. So a lot of what's being held up is being held up in the courts. And we've seen, for whatever reason, in the past, it's gotten better lately, but for whatever reason, before Tracy came on, it seemed like things just went downhill when it come to enforcement of things like this. It's just got worse and worse. And it's my understanding that this 170, 131 did have a court date, and they are under a court order to clean up, or the county's going to clean it up. I think the time is up on that, and it's supposed to be taken care of. So we'll have to see what happens. That's all I have. Thank you.
Just add on to it, of course, thank you all for attending, and thanks for the folks who have the nice comments about being a new dad. I do appreciate that. I did want to say a special thank you to Tracy Taylor, our planning and zoning. I know you got some of the hardest job in the county, and you have a great team that's trying to do their best. I know, to add on to what Councilman Holloway was saying, for years we didn't address a lot of the issues that the county has had, and that has made things worse and worse. And you have some serious headwinds as far as things like the courts and other kind of situations, but we've got to get these kind of situations, obviously we've got to get them fixed as quickly as possible, and nobody should, have to have the, have to live in the way that Mr. Dukes or others who are experiencing. It's just it's untenable. It's unacceptable. And so I don't know if there's anything on budget-wise to help continue to support. Make sure that the staff is doing the most that they can. But regardless, just from those issues, and then what we discussed tonight on really challenging situations we're trying to figure out with land use policy, I know it's a lot. So Tracy Taylor, thank you very much for all you do. Thank you to your staff. I know you all have a lot. Just want you to know we really appreciate it, and we're all gonna get there. We're all gonna do better together. I guarantee. That's it.
Presidential comments. One slight correction. I know it was a comment was made at the podium about the county gave $3.7 million to Salisbury Fire Company last year, and now we've cut them to a little over $2 million. But I think there's a bit of a clarification there. We actually approved, what was it, 2.2 maybe? Mm-hmm. And that was actually what was approved. The extra amount, the extra 1.5 was an addition that we agreed to give for prior years. So it wasn't as if that was we had agreed to a total of 3.7 last year. No, the amount for last year was just a bit over $2 million. I think that's important to clarify, because this is not the first time I've heard someone make that comment. There's also a comment about the funding to the airport and to the Civic Center. We have transitioned, to those that don't know, they used to be enterprise accounts. So we still have 1 or 2 left. But we found out with the airport that there was so much deferred maintenance a few years ago that we were given $600,000. Mark Kilmer was over here going, is this a loan or is this a grant? So we came to the realization that sooner or later, in some instances, it is a responsibility of this council to go into the operating cost and to try to firm up these areas. And the airport was one of these. And the airport and the Civic Center both are no longer enterprise accounts at all. As a matter of fact, we transitioned to government accounts in order to make it, recognizing that they're not quite going to be quite self-sustainable. I would also go one step further, though, is that in any funding that we give the Civic Center, I don't think it can add up to the amount of funding that Mr. Steve Miller is getting from the state of Maryland. So maybe consider a matching grant. I don't know what you might say, but it's the numbers that he is getting from the Civic Center through the grant process is He's doing an absolutely excellent job. One other thing, in the last meeting, there were some rather critical comments in referencing our Deputy Director of Public Works. I did not challenge it at the time, but I think it should not go without some type of comment tonight. There were certain accusations, I think misrepresentations, that our acting Director of Public Works, who was our Deputy Director, that he was causing delays in cell number 7 at the landfill, and that there were delays and cost problems with the dredge spoils and dredging of the Wicomico River. I think it's very important for the public to realize, and I hope this isn't too late, but it's Mr. Adam Corey is the individual we're talking about. And Mr. Corey actually came in very late, was hired very late in the process. And if it were not for Mr. Adam Corey, believe me, we would be in much worse shape with cell number 7 and the dredging and the spoils issues that we have right now. He has single-handedly managed to pull a 350,000-pound weight out of the water to save this county, I think, from I don't know what might happen as far as what the state of Maryland is going to impose upon us. When you're talking about landfills, you're talking about dredging. It's possible that we've been in a situation where we couldn't even have a barge go down the Wicomico River. This man had not spent the attention and the time that he has over the last year in addressing that situation. I know he's continuing to do that and will do so in the future. But I felt that clarification was necessary, and I apologize for being 2 weeks late on the response. Outside of that, entertain a motion from council to adjourn so we can go into open work session. Move. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Legislative session is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Next item on the agenda is the open work session discussion with lobbyist Bruce C. Bariano on the 2026 General Assembly session.
Mr. President, you want me here?
Yes, Mr. Bariano. Yes, right here. Thank you. Sorry to hold you up, but I have to tell you, you're actually very lucky because this could be 10 o'clock or 10:30 very easily. We don't have the greatest track record.
Respectfully, as long as I've been doing this, I've experienced that many times.
It's good to see you. It's the first time I think we've met you. It's good to see you.
For the record, Mr. President, member of the councils, Bruce Bariano. I'm a registered lobbyist for the county executive for Wicomico County. Happy to be here this evening, give you a report, and answer any questions or any discussions you want to have.
Thank you.
Thank you. In my role as a registered lobbyist for the county executive for Wicomico County, I tracked all items that were told to me of interest and concern to the county executive relative to Wicomico County, of course. This past legislative session, I was very involved in the following items in particular, just to give some brief summary. Number one was a Sunday hunting bill. There was a statewide bill put in by Delegate Regina Boyce from Baltimore City in the House and Senator Jack Bailey in the Senate, working with the Department of Natural Resources, and it was to deal with all the myriad of hunting laws at the local level and try and give some semblance of logic and consistency to them. The concern that I had to look at this bill, and I did testify both on the House and Senate side in that regard, is to make sure that the current law relative to Wicomico County, dealing with deer hunting would be rectified and given more flexibility and more time, particularly on Sundays, and that was included in the legislation. The legislation's passed; it will be signed, and so I was involved in that. I also was involved in a bill. The delegate that's here this evening, Delegate Beauchamp, House Bill 591, very important bill to City of Salisbury, dealing with pedestrian safety. I testified on that bill. Bill came out of the House very, very easily. It got a little held up in the Senate towards the very end, and I was able, given some relationships that I have, to have that bill passed on the last day of the session. And I know that was important to the police chief that I chatted with and when I testified at the hearing, so that was done. I did testify also on the Warwick Del Mar Scholarship conundrum, the awkwardness and the peculiarity of that, and that bill was passed to rectify that unique situation for the benefit of students at that school. I, of course, have been through Salisbury, through Wicomico County for just myriads of years. I mean, none of it is new to me. But like life is, you learn a lot of things that you didn't know before. And when I got the job working with the county executive, I took a tour of the county and primarily parts of Salisbury as well. I learned two things which I knew but didn't understand the depth and the significance and the assets that they are to Wicomico County, and that is your port and your airport. I learned enormously and was very impressed, very happy for the county and the city. And I respectfully see great opportunities for the development and an asset of that, both from an economic standpoint for the county, as well as tourism and other matters. I personally, and you don't have to necessarily share this view, but I personally, being so familiar with Annapolis, I don't really think that the senators and delegates, and I'm not being disrespectful to them at all, I don't think they fully understand both the port that you have. It is the second operating port in the state of Maryland, obviously different than the Port of Baltimore, but clearly a very significant and important port. I don't think they understand it really, and its economic impact and potential further economic impact to the state of Maryland. And the airport. I was just overwhelmed and very impressed with the airport. On the airport matter, Mr. President and members of the council, what I did in discussions with the county executive and their staff is I reached out to Shanika Griffin, who is the new head of the Maryland Aviation Administration. I've met with her several times. I've developed a very excellent relationship with her. And I urged her to please come down and tour the airport, which she did. She came down a number of months ago. I was there. I joined her. She was overwhelmed at the potential and what is going on, the flights that are developing and that further can be developed. Was also extremely pleased for a myriad of reasons at the relationship that the airport has with UMES. And how significant that is. And I was speaking to her just the other day, knowing what was coming down here. She's fully committed to working to help further develop that airport. A thought that I have, some of you may not share it, but I do want to state it. I just believe in collaboration. I think that it would be good, because tell me if I'm wrong, I don't see any competition or controversy, but I think working with the Hagerstown folks, who I know very well, I have very close relationships up there. I represent Washington County, Mr. President. I think collaborating, these are the other two airports in this state that have flights, that have potential. I know that they are getting state funds and federal funds. I think it's to the benefit of the economy of the state of Maryland and further airports. So, and as you know, the county executive and I appeared before the Board of Public Works, thanking them in person for the grant that was recently given. You all know far better than I what you have. I know you have flights that are going to Florida now. It would be great to have flights going to Pittsburgh and, what have you. All I'm trying to say is all of you know life is about relationships. We all know that. I'm not telling you something you don't know. And I've really developed, because I had a very close relationship with Ricky Smith, who was the administrator for a very long period of time, and she transferred me over. And Administrator Griffin is just a very experienced woman that has come out of FAA, very knowledgeable, very open, very willing. She was overwhelmed and very impressed. And I think that's something that not only was accomplished, but it can be furthered to the benefit of the county and, of course, the city. In that regard, I know one of the issues that people have, and I know the county executive wanted to do this in the realm of economic development, is having better signage to the airport for commercial, purposes, for flights and stuff like that. I have a very close relationship with Will Pines, State Highway Administrator. Been talking with him. There are some issues at the federal level, at the FAA level, that is creating some blockage. But Administrator Griffin is going to work with us, coming from the FAA. And also in speaking with Will Pines, he is going to, at no cost to the county, he's going to do design and put up signs throughout the county that I was given, as which I've gave to him, which was appropriate signage to make it easier for motors to get to the airport for purposes either commercial or for flights and stuff like that. The actual signage, in my conversation with Mr. Pines, would start next year, sometime in the spring, after a lot of the design work and some of the other bureaucratic steps have to be taken. But, Mr. President and members of council, I want to emphasize this is at no expense. Doing this, and actually the signage and the putting them up and what have you will be at no expense to the counties.
Which is good, because right now we have blue and white signs about this big.
I've seen them.
Yeah, and it's not only to direct people to the airport, but all these people going back and forth to Ocean City don't even know we have an airport. So you're right, that's a huge advantage.
So, and I'm going to stay on that. I'm going to stay on that. And again, I've known Mr. Pines for a very long time. As you know, he was in the previous gubernatorial administration. Got very close with him during that period of time, and he's made it clear to me. And he's made it clear to me. I said, Wicomico County will be very happy. It's at no cost to them. But I will stay on it as part of my functions. I could go on. I could stop here, answer any questions you have. I don't know how extensive you want me to go, but I also gave advice and counsel. Things change. A legislative session is very mercurial. Nothing stays the same. Every day of the 90 days is different, and. Just for a little bit of background, I'm not trying to be self-centered or anything like that. I came to Annapolis in 1971, working for the legislature, bill drafting and code revision. And 1973 and 1974, I was asked by then Senate President William James from Harford County to come on his staff and be Chief of Staff in the Senate President's office. He then went on, as some of you may know, to become State Treasurer. And Congressman, then State Senator Steny Hoyer, became President of the Senate and asked me to stay on with him. So I did 4 years with him in that same capacity as his Chief of Staff and counsel to the Senate of Maryland. A new Senate President came in, wanted his own person, which he's entitled to, and asked me to leave. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was living in Annapolis, and I continued practicing law, and I started lobbying, and I've been lobbying since that period of time. So my entire time period in Annapolis has been 54 years, 54 sessions, I can't believe it myself. I'm not here to boast or anything like that, but say there's a depth and a breadth of my knowledge and my ability to get things done. And that is what the legislative process is all about. Things happen that you can't anticipate, you don't know, and you have to quickly act and see what your abilities are to move things along and get to the objective. So I've tried to do that. I'll just say in closing, I've been very honored for quite a number of years, and presently am. I represent your colleagues, the county commissioners in Queen Anne's County, the county commissioners in Washington County commissioners in Caroline County, and the mayor and city council of Ocean City. And I've tremendously enjoyed, aside from my private clients, I've tremendously enjoyed this ability to work with government in a more intimate and inside way to help government, the governments that I've mentioned to you as they provide services to their constituents. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate your comments. We're in a kind of a unique situation here. You always have that battle between parties, whether it's Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, however you might want to say. But we also have another unique type of situation where it's sort of like the Western Shore versus the Eastern Shore, and we certainly get signals from the state of Maryland sometimes that they're not that concerned about our rural and our agricultural industry on the Eastern Shore area. I mean, I think we saw that a lot with solar. We see that with a lot of planning and zoning issues where the state of Maryland is beginning to take away our local autonomy on that. So there are a lot of challenges, without a doubt, that are unique to Wicomico.
Mr. President, I so strongly agree with you on that. First of all, let me correct myself. Not correct, but I also represent the county executive of Howard County, Calvin Ball. I've done that for 2 years. I have been saying to my Eastern Shore clients, the ones I mentioned, even in Washington County, and having been in Annapolis so long, I can see the larger picture. There has been, at least over the past 3 years, what I've never seen before, and really upsets me, not just because I represent these counties, but upsets me because I have always thought, you got to understand, I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I came down here, and I love the state of Maryland. I've been living in the state for 54 years. Got a place down in Crisfield, and I live in Annapolis, and I just love this state. I never thought I would. And no, I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm an Orioles fan. Okay, but to your point, Mr.
There are a lot of Yankees in Orioles.
I know my son's a Yankees
I got to tell you that.
My son got it from his grandmother, but my son's a Yankees fan, which is okay. He's a judge in Prince George's County. He's entitled to do that. But, Mr. President, you are absolutely correct. I've been very disturbed over the past 3 years reading legislation in so many, myriad of areas. They're trampling on county and city municipal authorities, basic functionality. And I'm not just saying that. I've been preaching this for a while. I've urged my other clients, the county clients and the city, to get the head of MML and MACO to sit down with the president and the speaker and really have a heart-to-heart conversation. Mm-hmm. And what has even further upset me is there are a number of members of the Senate and the House, and I'm not being disrespectful, I'm not going to call them out, but they came out of county government, they came out of municipal government, and they forget it completely. And the strength of the state is the 24 counties and their uniquenesses. You know better than I, but your basic roles, particularly when it comes to land use. And I don't think it's going to get any better, Mr. President. And I think that unless MACO and MML or some other actions are taken to really sit down in a very sincere, serious way and get some understanding and some priority, not just as it relates to energy and solar, but you saw in the housing this past session. Those bills fortunately sat there after the hearings, but the bills that went in the House and Senate by the administration, by the office, by the Department of Housing and Community Development, would have, when I read them, I couldn't believe it. I mean, what do you all have left to do? And I'm not just so. You're right. It's real, and it's not going to get better. And I don't have all the answers. At the very least, I thought that the heads of MACO and MML should sit down together in person with the presiding officers and really have a very serious talk.
Mm-hmm. And I think, too, the state of Maryland, what disappoints me sometimes is it seems like a lot of the bills that they wanted to pass, especially a few that they passed at midnight, they seem to be more focused on federal issues than they are on actually on the state of Maryland, what we need done here. And they think they don't seem to take it seriously that they continue taxing the way they are and moving forward with the way they are, that they're going to put the state of Maryland as a whole in a really bad position, not just Wicomico County, but the entire state.
I'll tell you, Mr. President, this past session was kick the can. It's an election year, kick the can. And I'm not being disrespectful, it just was. And the next session, of a new legislature, I know it'd be a new 4-year legislature, but the next session, it's going to be real bad. I mean, the numbers are out there. Everyone knows they're out there.
Right.
The blueprint continues to be untouched. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the county's responsibilities augment in these years coming up, and it's a very real problem. I was just this morning. I was before your colleagues at the Caroline County County Commissioners talking about this very thing. And if any of you know Councilman Porter, he speaks his mind, and they're very bothered by it. But and I think there's going to be an effort to push down a lot of cost sharing to the counties in various functions and services, so that at the state level they can say what they want to say about balancing the budget and taxes and stuff. I don't have the answers, but I just see the problem coming very clearly. I do.
Dave?
A couple. Just to mention, our last meeting, we had a presentation by our local Eastern Shore delegation, and I know myself, and I think everybody here holds them in very high esteem. And it seems like their job is many times trying to forestall very bad bills that are coming down from Annapolis and other parts of Maryland. So my question, actually, I've got two. How much of your time do you spend interrelating and supporting our delegation's efforts, and where are you finding, or what are you? How do you identify focuses? There's such a broad range of things going on in the state of Maryland, so which area do you work in more, working on initiatives that they're already working on, or, identifying others? And before you answer that, I don't want to make this, one in particular is the CAFO permitting got off track last, I think, summer, August.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
CAFO.
CAFO.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but and that is a big issue for the poultry industry directly, of course, and that would be one where I think everybody should be jumping on board, because that is directly impacting our most vital industry, or one of the most vital industries, which is poultry. So you can pick any of those to.
Let me go backwards. Let me take that one. Very respectfully, I'm not familiar with that issue. I was not involved in it. Happy to get involved in it. It was just not something I knew about or brought to my attention. But to your larger question, I work very extensively, very daily, very regularly with the members in the Senate and the House of your delegation, not only from this county, but all throughout the Eastern Shore. The chairman of the Eastern Shore delegation, if I may call him out, I know he's behind me. He was once a client of mine, represented the Maryland State Floor Covering Association, and they hired me, and I represented them and got done what they needed to get done. They had a very pressing issue. So Delegate Adams and I are exceedingly close. I'm talking to him quite often, and I go to the meetings, I listen to them, work very closely with Senator Mounts, who I knew long before when he was on Bob Ehrlich's administration. So I've known him for a very long time, and the Senator and I work very closely. Senator Carrozza I've known since Ehrlich administration, when she was deputy counsel there and on the staff. I work in a bipartisan way. Cherie Sample Hughes and I work very extensively together. I knew her predecessor, who was a very, very dear friend of mine. I used to represent Shore Up many, many years ago. And so I like to work. I don't like to sit around and do nothing. And I mean that. I enjoy what I do. I mean, I could retire, but I don't. I don't want to. So I get immersed, and I urge the delegates and the senators from the Eastern Shore, come to me if you need my services. For example, Delegate Busham, he had a bill, that pedestrian bill. It's a very important bill. I mean, I testified at the hearing for the county executive. It's a very important pedestrian matter. Well, it got stalled. And so I was working with him, and I learned that it got stalled, and I spoke to various senators and worked it out, and it got passed, and it's going to be signed into law. I mean, so to answer your question, I am completely available. All the delegation knows that. And not just for Wicomico County, but representing other counties as well. And spending a lot of time down in Crisfield, being very involved in the Crisfield Crab Feast, I care deeply about the Eastern Shore. I really do. And so I make myself fully available. If there's some additional issues, I'll be happy to tackle them.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'll just bring up a concern. I brought it up to the delegation. I'm just going to reiterate it again. When we have an ag commission for the state, and they will award grants. We have had a situation in our county where a grant was awarded, and it was for an agricultural building, and then they tried to change the use after they got it, and they didn't. The state never informed the county of any of this grant or any process, and the county actually had to step in and say, no, you can't change the zoning, you can't change the use of this building, because we can get into more detail about it later, but the use was changed, and now we're in court. But this all could have been handled ahead of schedule if the state would have been in communication with our planning and zoning ahead of time, so that we could have said, you can't do that there. So I don't know if maybe we can talk more about that later.
Be happy to do so.
Everybody, I think, knows about what I'm talking about in planning and zoning. So if we can.
Happy to do so. Obviously, I wasn't aware of it. It was not brought to my attention. The Secretary of Agriculture is a good friend of mine. He's a former lobbyist turned secretary. I mean,
I'm just looking at some sort of procedure so that when they award grants, hey, they just say, hey, we need to talk to the county about this first.
That does surprise me, because generally I know, they do. Was this a matter, if you don't mind my asking, was this a matter that had to go before the Board of Public Works?
I don't.
Okay. But I'd be happy to talk to you further about it. The other thing I did, I've been doing my entire time in Annapolis, I go to every meeting of the Board of Public Works, whether I have an agenda item or not. It's I try to keep a pulse on what is going on in the state of Maryland politically and governmentally.
Thank you, Bruce.
But I'd be happy to talk to you further about that if you would like.
Heart rate ought to be up.
Excuse me?
That heart rate ought to be up if you're trying to keep a pulse on all that.
Well, it's interesting, Councilman. I went to see my doctor today. He was going to give me the results of cardiac stuff I've had a couple of weeks ago, and I'm 81 years old, and he said, "You're very blessed."
We're not going to ask.
I'm in good shape.
We're not going to ask you to make it public, okay? We're not.
Excuse me?
We're not going to ask you to make it public. Your medical records.
Thank you for continuing to work.
Yes. Yeah.
I enjoy working. I enjoy helping others. I'd go crazy if I just sat around and do nothing. I'm not a golfer, never have been, so I got to do something.
It's very honored. We appreciate you being here very much.
I appreciate being here.
If you're heading home tonight, drive safe.
I will do that. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
I'll be good.
Entertain a motion from council to adjourn. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Councilman.